All right, less than 30 seconds to go here before we get the key CPI data for August coming out at 8:30 this morning. Expectations 3.2% on the headline core inflation rate year over year, 2.9%. Just under 10 seconds here, we'll see 0.2 was the prior number, 0.3 expected here on the month over month print for August, 2.5%. Coming out, just hearing in my ear. There's 2.5% on the headline number there versus 2.7 was the forecast. 2.6% was the consensus for the headline number. In line on the month over month, 0.3% for the month over month number on the August print there, 3.2% for core inflation in line with expectations. So no movement whatsoever for core inflation. Right in line with expectation again, 3.2%, 2.5 on the core number, though slightly better than the 2.7% print that was expected there on the forecast. Market downside here as a little bit of maybe weakness in the economy or underlying weakness in the economy, negative for the overall market. So big move for the NASDAQ anyways to the downside here. Again, if you're just joining, a little bit late, 2.5% on the headline number there year over year for the August CPI versus 2.7% expected there. Month over month, both the core month over month and year over year number basically in line with expectations, so no movement on that front.
That's a tough one, Breno. Now we're going to have to talk about that 50 basis point cut and, have to maybe react and spook the markets here. We were talking about that 1% by the end of the year. We're just unsure exactly in how, what chunks they'd be coming. This increases the likelihood for a 50 basis points cut, but we'll have to wait for the Fed next week. Big move down here on the future, about 100 points or so.
Yeah, just hearing short-term interest rate futures dropping after CPI report, as traders trimming bets on Fed rate cuts. So maybe we'll see what happens here over the next few minutes as we kind of level out, bouncing back to the upside here now from the NASDAQ overall. But I'll grab the Fed funds tool. We'll see what the reaction is here for the futures ahead of. Remember, this time next week, we'll be into the next Fed meeting. Wednesday next week, we'll get the decision from Fed Chair Powell whether or not it'll be a quarter point or a half a percent coming up on Wednesday. So there's still more headlines coming through right now, but reactions, guys, here. Market bouncing nicely so far.
They don't hate it that much.
We're 50 cents in the money on Nvidia. I have them as expected. I mean, here on the the Pro platform here, it was 2.5
nothing burger
versus 2.5. If you can see right here, 3.2 versus 3.2. So as expected, a relative nothing burger here coming through. I think we'll still get that quarter point in a couple minutes on September 18th. Looking good, man. Looking good. I mean, I think it's just stay the course. Nvidia gives us a gift. We're making 50 cents now in the money here. We're going to try to get something out at 108.50 if we can. Actually, that's the 50 period right here, right now. So why don't we just take a piece out if we can? There it is. So now we are getting out of that one, and there it goes. It's already starting, Neil, right there with Nvidia. A quick little 50-cent trade there. This is why you have to be prepared. You got to know what you want to trade. You see that come in, a little bit of a market overreaction, and you go to the best stock. So there it goes right there. Nice little win to start the day. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I don't know. Yesterday's market was nice. We'll see if we can do it again here today. 55 cents in the money on Nvidia.
Nvidia looking pretty good so far. Like we said, bit of a, I don't know, as expected. I feel like now it's about labor. That's what everyone says. It's about the labor market and jobs. So it would have to be something extreme for CPI to be a really big deal. And then tomorrow, tomorrow we'll see what happens. Rest of the week, we'll see what happens next week. Is it going to be 25 or 50? I'd expect you're going to see some adjusting on that Fed funds rate tool. Worth checking in a little bit later. Like obviously, we're going to have to talk about. We'll talk about GameStop, and we'll also talk about DJT down here. Tanking of sorts. I mean, it's only down 13%. A couple of things to keep in mind. When the betting markets go one way, this can go the other. And then the other thing is, with DJT, every single day is a day closer to lockup expiring, which is going to be looking like it's going to be on the 20th. Most certainly has to be by the 25th. It just broke another fresh all-time low this morning, and looking for a fade in that one. I don't know if we're going to get a flat top break. The chip name I liked was actually AMD on the heels of obviously a very, very impressive afternoon yesterday. And yeah, it's got this nice little double, triple top thing going on in here. Still seems pretty likely to try to take this one out, 143.5. It's about $1 away. But yeah, this is was looking very strong in yesterday's trade. And man, if it can take the top off here, there's a lot of room to the upside. Hasn't been the greatest chart in the last little bit, but looking a lot better after yesterday's advanced micro devices.
All right, just keeping an eye on expectations here. Fed Fund futures still pointing to, it's actually closer to 25 basis points now, once again, going to next week. And then still 100 forecast to come off before the end of the year if you go out to December as we head back to session lows here for the NASDAQ. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what platform you're looking at. 2.7 was the forecast here. Comes in 2.5 for August. So everything else in line, exactly in line with expectations. Which, as you were mentioning, kind of tough here as we were expecting maybe a little bit of a downprint overall for the economy to help things out a little bit. But that just gives you a month-over-month visual look at what happens. Again, basically nothing. It's been back and forth, for the past 6 months or so.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what commentators are saying that this increases the likelihood of a 25 basis point cut when the economy is contracting faster than normal. So if your buying power and your inflation is being reduced, I don't see the case for a 25 basis point cut any greater than the 50 basis point cut. So we'll have to wait and see. There, obviously, they have their own intentions about how they want the market to perceive what their actions are. So we'll have to see if that factors in or not, Brendo. But yeah, I think it's showing a little bit of weakness here in the economy.
Expected, on some fronts, if you go out to like Treasury yields, a slight downtick. That was basically it. There's the dollar not doing anything here this morning. I mean, it did start the day a little bit red. We're back to basically flat on the session. So overall, not much reaction here outside of the market itself for this CPI print. Does that help Fed Chair Powell at all going into next week? We'll see what happens here. That was GameStop to the downside in a pretty good way here, 3.3% right now pre-market. We're back to, on a daily chart, we're back to lows, $20 coming into play. But yeah, coming off their report after the close last night, a lot of people having a look at GME this morning.
Yeah, this is an interesting one here. So they actually turned better EPS than expected. So profitability shored up there, but that was as good as the story got. Q2 revenue fell 31.2% year over year. They're looking at eliminating redundancies in their stack, and they're as well looking to close certain stores that are underperforming. This is after they told us last time around that they wanted to revamp some of their stores to kind of have this retro gaming model look. We'll see how that all works out there. Their potential tailwinds, though, the release of GTA 6 and some other hardware releases coming later this year, early next year.
A few people mentioning PLCE as well, up on a better than expected report. Children's Place, I think this was a relatively, yeah, it is kind of small, 11.7 million share float here for PLCE, going from $5 up to $8 here this morning. Better than expected Q2, guys.
Children's Place is nearly 50% short, so that's good. I mean, that'll do it. 47.5% is what I see with a 12 million float, and a lot of people are looking at this one. Bid, I mean, it's actually not, it's in a couple million shares, but it's not like there's a ton of size going through or a lot of liquidity from what I can see. That's just a glance to level 2 just now, but if you do your diligence on this, anytime you get a day one play, which this essentially is, I mean, you're going to look back to, okay, when the profit taking starts happening, where are you going to come back to? I think you look at, it's kind of obvious in here, like look at this level. It's like 665, 665, and then you all kinds of resistance in here, 65 to like 70 or so. So this could actually be under $7 and around into that support, which also means it could be under VWAP. And that previous level on the daily, somewhere in this range, 665 into $7. I think that's the place to look on PLCE, at least at the open. We got plenty of time until the open, but GameStop seems like it's not waiting for anybody as it just continues to work to the downside. I feel like 20 could be in play today, unfortunately. If you go back into the daily chart on GameStop, it says there was a trend-ish support that was an over-under for me at 21, but now that you're underneath it, what are you going to do? Like it's August to August lows. Now you're back underneath that 21. It feels like a 20 break could be in play, although that low is $19.80. Not looking good for GameStop. They slapped an offering, which is not what you want to see, but why is anybody surprised that they are diluting? I mean, it's kind of what they do. Taking advantage of some recent stock movement as well, because there had been a bit of a muted bounce. But underneath 21 bucks, I don't want it to break 20 right away, but underneath 20 bucks, it's a fade for me. Was willing to play longs if it could have held the 21 level, because then you would have held that trend line. But without it, sorry, GME, going the other way.
All right, we're already in the dollar here with Nvidia. Nvidia just went up to 109 and faded off of that. So we're going to have that watch right now. We'll think about getting another piece out if it comes up to 109 again, as CPI just made this market drop just a little bit here. So I'm pretty sure this is going to now confirm that 25 basis point move as expected. So I feel like it's just par for the course here. We'll see what winds up happening. Putting an offer at 109 on Nvidia if it comes up there. Yeah, watch 20 bucks for GameStop. Well, look, I've already mentioned this. When DJT was up at 50 bucks, it was basically Katina Capital put a price target of 10. We're getting closer and closer to that level. Let's see if it can get down to there. It's 1580 right now, 13% down. I don't know. I was watching that debate. It was pretty big. I don't know. I think it was like a little bit of a shit show there, kind of as expected. So, you know, we'll just wait to see what happens. November 5th is 55 days away, man. It's coming pretty quickly here. So we'll see what winds up happening.
Super
we'll get
fast.
a good, we'll get a good response. Then what happens to that market? I mean, it will be a contested election. Who knows? Should be an interesting couple of months heading there. But yeah, DJT not faring well today, down 14%.
All right. We were just looking at some of the solar stocks. We were talking about it a little bit in the pre-market, or before we came on here, pre-show, before we came on at 8:30. Solar stocks across the board higher today on, the thought in general that interest rates, come to the downside, some policies that could come with the election in November. I mean, that's end phase. I mean, if you zoom out on end phase, it's absolutely a disaster. I mean, there's a ton of these. There's Solar Edge, there's Sunrun, there's First Solar, Enphase, Sun Nova, all up more than 5%. They did get quite the downtick on that 8:30 print this morning, but sorry, that was the wrong chart. As you see with Enphase here, we're right back to almost 108 again. So better part of 6% here for Enphase at least.
Yeah, it's interesting here, Brendo. So a couple of reasons why solar are running. Obviously, we had the debate yesterday. A couple of mentions with respect to solar. Donald Trump saying that he's a big fan of solar, then talking about, fossil fuels right after that. He did criticize, the amount of land required for solar. Obviously, after the debate yesterday, some odds makers putting the favor in Kamala Harris's side. So if that is the case, then obviously we anticipate more spending from the Democratic side with respect to this renewable energy. Separately, though, Brendo, yields have come down, and we know that yields are very influential with respect to startup costs for solar. So we'll have to wait, keep an eye out, but interesting look for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the story. The cost of borrowing here right across the board for these companies has been just too high for the past. I'm just keeping an eye on the 10-year, actually just making a low right now, 3.64 for the 10-year. But there's a short side of this story as well for a lot of these. Enphase specifically, just double checking a couple of sources, more than 10% still for ENPH, FSLR a little bit lower than that, but FSLR dual listed here, but nice move for it this morning, back to 216 right now, guys.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, the short float's a part of it. And ideally, I think they would have benefited more with the odds going up, I think, of 50 basis points. So when I last checked, it was 29% chance of a 50-point cut. And then now it's 21% after CPI. So it didn't make a huge move, but you're not there just yet. Next week, you're going to see that tighten up and probably get to, a 1% chance of 50 basis points. So you're going to get the gap up because of the debate last night, but then you're going to get some pressure on them because the chances of that 50 points are seemingly dwindling at this point. So yeah, I look at Enphase in here. It would have been more interesting if it was breaking out to 50. Oddly enough, it was First Solar. First Solar's got the chart that, I don't know if it looks better, but it was the one that I was at least looking at if we got any increase of a probability of a 50-point cut. I was thinking this would just break 220, and then you got the 50-period break. You have a trend that would be breaking as well with FSLR. Like, you'd be breaking out this sort of downward trend. Didn't draw that line very well, but you can get the idea. You'd be breaking this downward trend and breaking the 50-period on a 220 break with room to the upside. Unfortunately, with it now looking more likely that it's only going to be a quarter point, I don't know if that's going to get the juice for this name. So unfortunately, don't see a trade here in FSLR. Although the flip side would be, well, then in theory, you could be shorting it off that level that didn't break. But there's other names that I'll be more interested in. I was only interested in this if they broke and started going because of the squeeze potential.
Yeah, I always look at the ETFs here, and again, TAN ETF. I mean, some of these things have been so beat up. If you want to pick names, I think First Solar is going to be the right one. But you can see right here, I mean, it's a nice downside move, breaking through that low, now trying to hold it. So, I like this spot here at $39, $38 for TAN. I just feel like you want to buy the right ETF, and this might be that heading into election season, right? I don't know. We'll check what the odds are saying here. I don't know if the polls are ever going to be right. I mean, they've been wrong, I feel like, every election. So, if Kamala gets in, I could see this being a positive move. And then, of course, like we just mentioned, it's looking more and more like that 50 points will not happen, of course, in September. But I think it'll probably be a 100 basis point move by the time the year end happens. So TAN right there could be a good little play. FSLR, we always say, I always like to, I don't own any solar stocks, but I always feel like you want to buy the best names. I think FSLR is in and around that. So 206, 205 there for that nice little bump up of a few percentage points. Thank you, Randy.
Saved, Randy. Well, the good thing is
coffee.
Well, also the banana, because it was a banana on the desk, but it has Obi's name on it, so I can't eat it, which is unfortunate because
That's right.
I feel like
we had some fun times yesterday.
Clearly, he didn't want to eat it. I don't know.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks,
How's your day going? Fun? Good. Shaky. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be having this banana and going back over to the desk.
Affected.
Yeah. Here it is. Right now we can have a look. Sharif and I were just talking about, I'm not sure that, this is September, first off, 85%. That's a quarter point right now. Just 15% would be 50 basis points. You go to November, I think the more important number is going to be the end of the year at this point. So 54% chance that 50 basis points would come off before November. And then if you go out to the end of the year, the December meeting, I mean, this is the better part of 80%. If you split that down the middle, it's almost exactly 100 basis points in total. I think we're at 5.3. I saw the other day was the effective Fed funds rate, 5.3 or 5.33, something like that. So that's 100 basis points by the end of the year.
Which is really interesting, too, because it's going to have an effect on some of these banks. Because we saw with some of these banks reporting earlier in the earnings season that they were having a marked effect on the net interest income that they were actually able to generate, having to pay out more in savings accounts than they were actually getting on some of the shorter dated loans. So this could actually change some of their look. We obviously saw JPM come in yesterday with a 5% down day. So we'll have to see how some affects some of these financial institutions going forward.
Meanwhile, we are 0.1% away from positive here, guys, for the NASDAQ.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is what we're doing right here. I mean, we find the best stocks, and we said there's only one. I like Nvidia right here, and yeah, buy the dips. We know. I feel like tech names are going to be sort of a place to hide, to be honest with you. I mean, their earnings are what they are. The cash on hand is what they are. These are monster stocks. I mean, we saw yesterday a little bit of an estimate cut down there for JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. JP Morgan touched $200 yesterday. I mean, it's not like these are bulletproof stocks, and you're seeing that right now from $225 down to $200. And then yesterday we also had Goldman Sachs on a move to the downside as well. I was just looking at this the other day. I remember it was 550 or something like that. And now you're back into 460, not 550, I guess, 510, back into 465. So a nice move down for Goldman as well. Meanwhile, you're getting some nice, hold ups. Like Amazon continues to be nice, right? Oracle yesterday. Talk about a different kind of a situation. We had yesterday Oracle up, and I mean, thankfully I own some of those. I mean, I own pretty much all tech, but Oracle nicely moved back up to the upside on earnings again. And if we're going to be trading stock, and by the way, there it is right now, we are now officially, we're a dollar club. right there. But we now are officially with Amazon. Congratulations are with Nvidia. Congratulations to those of you that took that trade. But that's 3 straight up days. We'll see if Amazon can continue that one. I think Google has a good chance today as well to get above that 150 and hold. We'll see if that winds up happening, here. Could happen, could not. I still like Nvidia. The other name that I wanted to talk about was Apple. And of course, after that glow time event, we'll see what happens. Still at that 220 level. That's going to be a pretty interesting mark too, underneath the 50-period moving average, looking to take down 222. So, when I look at Apple, it doesn't look as dramatic of a move down as Goldman, right? As Goldman or JP Morgan. So, JP Morgan was just at 225. It's now at 200. So, this name's not so bad here. I think tech is here, obviously, as a safe haven. And look at Oracle, man. I mean, if you're just going to play earnings and play strength, this is pin action, right? Oracle's involved in all of this. Look at this move upside. I mean, it's an absolute monster. I feel it's just a matter of time before all the rest join the party. I'm long here. Nvidia will continue to support these tech names and continue to buy all of these dips.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's been historically true is that when you think about if we have like a recession and all that stuff, at the end of the day, tech names tend to do pretty well, relatively speaking. Now, Oracle, it might not be moving a heck of a lot, but when you talk about continuation plays on earnings, well, what else are you going to look at for day 2 or day 3? I mean, Oracle's pretty much the one here. And if it doesn't break, it would be nicer if it was going with the bounce that we're getting in the market. So it's a little bit weird to me that it's not. That said, you can see, close holding 155 in there as long as it holds 155. I think it's more of a retracement of the move kind of day for this, but I'm a little bit concerned that it's not going with the market. If it loses 155, then you get to wait down for a 150 or 151. But on the nose of JP Morgan and the banks, I just feel like if it doesn't break the high, it can't fly. And you saw where the buying took it to yesterday on JP Morgan, right into this 206. If it can't take that out, a retest of 200 seems decent. And then also the other one to maybe watch out for is, I think, a little bit like Morgan Stanley's just weaker than JP Morgan. Like you saw JP bounce, JP Morgan now holding a higher low. It was 200 bottom, 205 top. In Morgan Stanley, one thing is distinctly different from the other. You're underneath yesterday's lows on Morgan Stanley as opposed to JPM. This one feels weaker to me, and we closed at like 26.6 to be down underneath the 25 level. I think yesterday's lows, if it holds under there in the opening range, this could be the better bank short, at least for today. I understand JP Morgan was the big mover yesterday, but today it's Morgan Stanley that's weaker. Adara?
We have some upgrades and downgrades to hear. Morgan Stanley actually on this list, but we'll start here with the upgrades, including Charter Communications. Slightly positive on the day with this Citigroup upgrade. Goldman Sachs upgrading Evercore ISI here. Williams-Sonoma with an upgrade from Jefferies Financial, and Wells Fargo upgrading One Gas. Now on the downgrade side, we do have Morgan Stanley. So Goldman Sachs doing some bank-related upgrades and downgrades here. Morgan Stanley down about 1 1/3%. We have Novartis down almost 1% with this B of A Securities downgrade. HC Wainwright downgrading Adicet Bio. And last but not least, Supernews getting a downgrade here by Piper Sandler. Some smaller names here, but some of these banks, as just discussed, could be interesting.
94.
Well, kind of just mentioned Morgan Stanley there on the downgrade, but obviously that's going to be the one. I will say this about Williams-Sonoma. The good news is it's not completely dying any further. And sometimes when we see a pattern like this, there you go. I'm going to do that and just draw yourself a channel, because sometimes channels are fun to observe. But since they got cracked, it's been in a very clean downward channel. So the thing to look for on Williams-Sonoma, at least for myself, would be, hey, if it breaks this channel in either direction, you want to play it. Now, it's been riding the top of the channel. It's been wicking the bottom, which, what does that tell you? It tells you when you get to the bottom of a descending support, it's kind of running away from it, whatever, and it's kind of looking to break out a little bit more than it is down. At least that's the indication. Probably needs to get through like a 140, so I don't think that's a today thing. But this is the kind of thing worth keeping eyes on, right? All these retailers that have been beaten up so badly, this is double-digit shorts, and a lot of them are at least close to double digits. This is 10% short. So if you break this channel to the upside in Williams-Sonoma, you might have something. I think that's probably more of like a swing idea or a wait till next week thing, as it's not close to breaking that top here today. Up a couple of points, but the appeal of something like this is that it's down so badly that there's going to be some double-digit moves in there at some point. Just needs to break this channel top. Today it sits at like 138 to 140, but that's what I observed with Williams-Sonoma. You can set an alert for it or something when it gets to the top.
All right. Obviously, on the sticky note is now out. It has Nvidia. It's all over it. But we are already $1.20 now, Neil, in the money here on Nvidia as it's looking to break through 109. And when it does, let's see. The last time it tried it, it only got to 109.10 or so. 109.06 actually as the high of the day. So here we go. We're doing it again here live for you at Trader TV Live, where the best traders reside.
All right, a few other things to keep in mind as we head towards 9 o'clock here this morning. Bitcoin moving around, BTC downside. We are bouncing along with equities right now as the 15-minute chart. So we end the day 57.7, 57.800, all the way down to 56,000 during the debate. Bit of a bounce this morning back above 56.5 here at least. So I mean, I've been keeping an eye on some of the equities. There's not much movement happening as far as some of the ETFs, but worth noting.
So last week, Brenda, we had like negative outflows, record for negative outflows for BTC spot ETFs. Yesterday, we had about $26 million to start the week come back in. We'll see how that does today. Already down 2 1/5 right now on Bitcoin. Obviously, the debate yesterday may have had some sort of influence on that. We know Donald Trump is pro-crypto. We haven't heard anything from Kamala Harris, so we're not really sure whether she's negative on crypto or not. So we'll keep eyes on that. But yeah, some of them already moving here, guys.
Yeah, there was a big move up yesterday for Mara. Rallied right into the close, so gapping to the downside this morning, back below 1550. But huge day for this one. Basically going out on the highs at the close yesterday.
Yeah, I think that kind of bodes poorly for it, really. Like the way that it rallied at the end of the day there, and then to get essentially, a nothing burger for crypto. You didn't really do anything except not hear much, and you wanted to hear a little bit more. I guess people were waiting to hear something out of Kamala on crypto, and you got basically nothing. So 58, there was no breakout at 58. That's the key level we were mentioning earlier on in the week. You're still kind of double top rejecting it. This is a 15-minute chart in here, and as long as you're doing that, yikes. I don't necessarily love what I see in Mara. I think if it hadn't moved so much, like there might have been some kind of a long in there, but all I see is a rejection of $16 and some people that might have tried to get ahead of it. If it tries to get back into 16, that just looks like a fade to me on MARA. And then Coinbase is the other equity that we're usually looking at. It is not distinctly different, but I think the difference for me is you can see how much stronger Mara was going into the move, and thus, breaking back underneath. Yeah, you can say, okay, well, this one also maybe trapped some people long going into the debate, but I would say Mara trapped more people and trapped them a little bit bigger, which sets it up for a better reversion play. But Coin kind of rejecting that 160 as well. That's a pretty key level. 160 on Coinbase is that August 5 low. And now all of a sudden you have resistance setting up at that previous, it's not really a support level, it's kind of like a bounce spot.
All right, we are waiting at 109.40. It just stopped at 109.40 here for $1.50 right now on this trade. So here we go. We'll see if we can get a little bit more action on this. If it stops and doesn't print us, then that's just bad luck. Yeah, look, we really like Mara. We talked about that over and over again here, and I think it's going to be a good trade. I haven't really looked at it today. I'm not super concerned about Bitcoin. We talked about maybe there'd be a catalyst there that they could mention something about BTC last night. I didn't notice anything unless I had sort of stepped away for a moment to put the kids down and might have missed it. But just looking at the chart here for Mara, 1450 maybe as a level down here if we sort of zoom back out. Just looking to see what we held yesterday, 1475, 1476. I don't know if we get down to there at all. We'll have to just keep watching out for Bitcoin. But this is not a bad little level either, the $15 level. It is where the 50 period is on the 20-minute chart. That's something that I generally like. Plus, you get $15 as some support. So a little drip into that would make a little bit of sense. Oh, it's also where the 200 period is. So yeah, I feel like technically there's something there in and around 15. And then if you're completely wrong, maybe you go below this 1475 for a little bit of a dropout area. So, I mean, this would be something good there. Fill the gap, hold it, and see if we can get back up to the upside. So I think in and around here would be a decent spot to look to buy 1475. And then if you break 1450, then you can get out. So yeah, actually, it's pretty good. I feel like I've missed a couple trades here. And one of them was Morgan Stanley. I think we could be shorting that through 96. Let's see what kind of a reaction this stock has today. Only 9,000 shares, down that 1.39%. But yeah, I like Mara here at this level. Come on, Nvidia, do the work, man. We're already $1.50 in the money off this 108 buy as Nvidia just keeps going to the upside here. I might not wait for that 40 level and just put an offer right now and take this 33s. Because what is the difference? And there it is right there. It's a slapper to start the day. $1.50 right there on Nvidia. We still have a third left. Let's go back over to the desk.
All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here at 9 o'clock. We'll start things off with a look at the market.
5504, Brando, that's where we closed out yesterday, but you feel like we're using 5,500 as resistance despite the fact that we closed above it. The overnight high, 5501. We're below 5,500 right now. So I need a bit more proof that we're actually going to take this 5,500 level. If we do, let's look to that 5525, 5550 area as resistance. We have resistance at both levels. So the downside, we'll use 54.75 as support. That was kind of the low yesterday.
Yeah, pretty muted as far as the reaction off CPI. That is for sure as far as the market is concerned. Again, if you missed it or joining just a little bit late, CPI in line with expectations basically right across the board. So a bit of a non-event. If you haven't done so, grab that. Go down to the description in this video right now, and there's a link waiting for you there for the watch list. Enter your email address. Absolutely free. Every single day has everything you need to know on it. What is this? 13.25% currently for DJT off the debate reaction last night. I mean, the polls I've been seeing really haven't changed too much. I guess it obviously depends on where you look, but it wasn't the greatest performance.
No, and I'm just going to leave my comments there about the debate, but I'll tell you about this. The timing of the expiry for the lockout period for DJT is a little nuance here, so let me tell you about it. So if the stock stays above $12 for 20 trading days starting August 22nd, Trump can sell his shares starting on September 20th. However, if that precondition is not met, the lockup period ends September 25th, Brendo, so we'll have to keep on the price action to see what the volatility might be like.
Trying to bounce, guys, back above 16 here so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still down 13%. It was at like 1675 when the numbers came out. Never mind. Before the numbers came out, the high was like 1675. So it's still looking pretty weak. I find it. Look, it got a couple of days worth of rally into the debate, but really, when you look at it, it's just been in a downward trend. So I think when it looks like this, I'm essentially looking to short the pops. I know it's over 10% to the downside, likely at the open, which would set it up for some kind of a short sell restricted bounce. I'm kind of anticipating that that's going to be the case and looking to short pops. Obviously, you have a high that got made at 1685 now, which is within the target zone underneath $17 for me. But if it breaks out 17, it's just got to be a patience game. It is capable of squeezing. I just look at prior lows in here, 1775. And if it gets through 17, wait for that kind of a curl. We have to pay for locates at real trading here, but they are relatively cheap. I'd have to double check. Both this and GameStop were, I want to say, very, very cheap. I don't know, like less than 1 cent per share on both of them. So it was relatively cheap for us, like I said. But I'm only looking to short pops on DJT. And when that lockup expiration happens, whether he sells or not, there's going to be some people doing some selling, as everything's sort of out of whack when it comes to fundamentals with this, and daily chart says it all.
All right, almost $2 now on this trade here with Nvidia. Yeah, just talking with our friends here about the debate in a WhatsApp group. Okay, yeah, I mean, we can look at oil here today. I mean, This Nvidia trade has really got me going here a little bit, so that's nice. Yeah, USO, we could see a little bit of a rebound here. I mean, it's been pretty much crushed over the last week or so to the downside. This again, United States oil. We can look at the actual oil contract. We do have oil inventories coming out today. I feel like you know, there is an oversupply right now. Heading into winter gas, that formula is a little bit more expensive than summer. I was talking to Randy about this yesterday. So we are a little concerned here about the price of oil and the price of a stock like, wow. I mean, we could break, on the sticky note today is 110 for Nvidia. I mean, we might be breaking that ASAP right now. But yeah, XOM coming through now. I mean, 110, this was a level that we looked at yesterday as well. I mean, this could be a good little bottom spot there for XOM, just trying to hold out for that. I mean, if you get 110, you don't have to worry. 108 seems like it's the bottom. You are at the 200 period moving average. I mean, this has been a pretty, XOM's a pretty lame stock. It's one of those ones where there is a dividend attached there. There's the buyback. And if you like energy, I mean, you can't go too wrong with that one. The one name that I would definitely not be investing in is Occidental. We talked about this yesterday with Brian Shannon. He was thinking it's looking the worst out of them all. I think that that's an obvious statement. You know, without Warren in here buying this is probably a $20 or $30 name. So let's wait to see what winds up happening with Occidental, breaking well below all of these levels. And I mean, if you're in this name, you were probably in it for this kind of a bottom at 56, 57. If you miss getting out there, you're down about 7 or 8%. I don't think it's the end of the world. And you could find a spot, but this is why I zoom back out. See, like if we don't hold right now, and if the energy space keeps getting a little more suspect, then this is where that drop starts to happen. And then we get into these levels where I said $30, $20 into here. So we'll wait to see. I mean, look, if energy gets worse, this is not going to be the only name that's to the downside. So it's just right now, this is starting to break and looking pretty bad on the daily chart. Occidental would be one for me to short. But again, we got to sort of break a little bit lower and hang underneath $50 before I get super interested in that one. GameStop is down. Yeah, we were watching that yesterday during the market recap show. Of course, we had a good
What
show
time
there
was
yesterday.
the?
No, it happened right away. It was they didn't have a conference call, so there was nothing happening when the earnings was released. It was basically a flat earnings trade, and then you wake up today to see that we're down here into 21. So I guess you mentioned that they
Well, there was an offering.
I'm
just not. I didn't know exactly what time they dropped the offering. I'm imagining that's when it went to
this morning. I don't know.
You know what? I'm not sure. Let's go to the desk. Maybe they'll tell us what time, because I think that's the only reason why GameStop really went to the downside big, was because of the dilution. I mean, they actually beat on earnings, guys.
Just keeping my eye on Palantir.
Yeah, they made
as well.
money.
They just posted a very cryptic video on their Twitter about it was a floating box and it said coming soon. So we'll talk about Palantir though coming up here in a second, but did move up on that. Just be aware. Yeah, GameStop down big time, 9.8% right now, trying to hold 21. But yeah, I mean, you have the details on the earnings, but it wasn't great right across the board.
It wasn't, Brenda, but I think Neil's accurate in saying when they announced that the offering was come out, that's when you really got the price action to the downside. But here's how they did. Q2 revenue fell 31.2% year over year. They continue to bleed revenue, but they were able to shore up costs. The EPS here, they printed 1 penny per share, but that was compared to a 9 penny loss last year. They're looking at shoring up costs just more than just layoffs, but they're eliminating redundancies and underperforming assets, as well as identifying certain stores that they want to close. The tailwind here comes vis-a-vis new hardware releases, as well as the GTA 6 that we're all expecting.
The interesting note, I think, here, we were just talking about, according to Trade Ideas anyways, shortfall back in the single digits once again here for GME.
Sent yesterday.
That's crazy, almost.
Yeah, that's why the play's not here anymore. Honestly,
just not there.
Yeah, this stock is just going to be something that you're going to have to wait for some actionable tweets, I guess, on right now. But yeah, beating 4 cents versus -1. We talked about that. Revenue's under though. They missed by over $100 million on the revenue side. But it's nice that they finally get a little bit going there. They don't have to burn some cash. But then again, that offering sends the market to the downside. So I mean, this won't be a name that I trade today. So I don't know. I mean, if you hold $20, that's always pretty good on the daily chart. I mean, it's a nightmare. It's hard to chart something that looks like this. We've had Michael Noss on and various traders on here. We had Andrew Rader on talking a little bit about some of these names. At the end of the day, you know, volatility is what it is, and right now it's to the downside. I mean, the 200 period is right here at 1850. I don't even know how valid that is considering all these crazy moves up. But yeah, 1850 would be, I guess, a buy zone. That's right here. So it goes back to this May 23rd bottom, and it's also the 200 period. So if the move's going to stop, try 19, but then you have to be down a lot. Like I don't know if that's going to happen today. I don't know. Let's watch it for increased volume. I mean, if it shows up on our volume scanners and starts going crazy, then I think we can go over to GME. Let's see if there's any posts or whatnot. But I think GameStop for now needs to be sort of left alone and see what happens. Watch that $20 mark.
I mean, obviously DJT is moving around just as much, and probably I would argue a bigger. I know earnings is a big deal, but probably as a bigger catalyst today, relatively speaking. So I do like DJT as a trade more than GME. That said, I don't want to ignore. Like, it's got this, it's not really a trend line. It's just a couple of lines of support in August, and it lines up with 21. So I kind of feel like let the opening range play itself out, but underneath 21, shorts down to 20, and then that 18 half level Sean was just mentioning. If you're able to hold above 21, I think you can play back into here, which is 2165, 2175. But I like this 21 as not just a round number, but obviously a little bit of dip support there. It's happened a couple of times for GME. So let's see what it wants to do at the open on either side of that, right? And if it starts going, like if GME in the first 5 minutes is doing, or 10, 15 minutes is doing more volume, and it's going to do more volume than DJT, but if GME is just doing better movement and looks like the better trades and setting up off the levels that I like better, then I'll probably trade this one. But for me, I feel like it's going to be that DJT off of the open. And if you like what you see, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If there's something we're not talking about, let us know in the chat. If you want to talk about symbols or let us know or can't communicate with our great community, you have to be a subscriber to be in our chat. So do hit that subscribe, hit that like, and then jump in there and ask us anything that you want. Vendetta says you're shorting the NASDAQ. I mean, good luck. We're breaking through overnight and yesterday's highs as we speak. But yeah, a certain name was lower. I don't know if it still is after that last little bump there. Brendan?
Apparently this video I was just mentioning there for Palantir was initially posted yesterday, so making the rounds once again on X. Yeah, all they posted was it can't be contained and coming soon, and there was a floating box. So Palantir being Palantir, but just it took out the highs when that did pop up on my screen anyways. Once again, down 2% was a heck of a lot more than that after a bit of a choppy day yesterday.
Yeah, so a lot to talk about here. ARK Invest, obviously run by Kathy Wood, was selling some shares yesterday, almost about 125,000, a little bit less than that, valued at approximately $4.3 million. Also, chairman of Palantir, Peter Thiel, sold some as well, or not hasn't sold, excuse me, looking to sell. He did file to sell up to $1 billion worth of stock. He has not sold any, and it allows him to sell up to 28.6 million shares by December 31st of next year, Brendo. So over a year for him to be able to distribute that.
You've ever heard that guy talk?
No.
I watched he was on Rogan, and a really interesting conversation they had. Peter Thiel, he's really, really interesting guy, worth checking out if anyone is interested in learning more a little bit about not only Palantir, but Peter Thiel as the person.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously smart dude there. So Palantir is still down a couple of points. They did make a little bit of a bounce, as Brendan mentioned, but that's, that tweet being, from yesterday, I feel like it was more just following the market, as it was a very slight move to the upside. It feels like it's just trading, diddling in the middle. And when you get a post-earnings move, you want to see it settle down. So it's obvious 35 is a resistance spot. I think you can play off of that, but I'm not completely convinced. If it heads to the downside, you got to look back to that previous before earnings 52-week high, that 33 change. It was like 33.13 or so. That's where it broke and dipped the first day. You didn't quite retest it. If it's going to be relatively weak today, then I think you might have to be patient with this. And if it gets down to the 33, that's a different story. It's not really moving. It's not breaking out. It's not breaking down. So like I said, diddling in the middle. 33 is the last key level, unless you're looking for fade plays, in which case you'd have to wait for the 35. But I feel like this will be like a tomorrow thing at 33, or maybe like a Friday thing or a next week thing at the $33 level. Like previous breakout prices, to dip back in and find some support, but you're not there right now in Palantir, so I don't really see a trade for this today.
Yeah, I'm going to. So we've just had four straight. I just double checked. We've had now 4 straight big days here to make back what we lost on that first day of trading. Look, Palantir. Yeah, I'll probably leave it alone. Honestly, I don't think it's a buy until 31.50. So yesterday we were sort of Obi and I we had bought that stock, then it sort of came back in a little bit, ended the day fine, but it was just a little tough to trade that during the first part there with some of that selling happening with Kathy Wood and Peter. But right there, 31.50. I mean, I kind of like that spot to pull back into. A little bit of that top break action. We got a little excited there, and again, it's pretty well valued. I mean, the PEs in the 50s. We'll see what winds up happening with this name. Of course, you got to pay up for names that have, growth, hopefully Palantir does have. And inclusion in the S&P 500, we had Justin Zacks yesterday from Moomoo on as well talking about this name. But yeah, there could be some kind of support down here at 32.50. But for me, I'm going to wait till 31.50. I could see Palantir going the other way. Not a stock that I'll trade today. To be able to buy that dip there, obviously we bought it on Nvidia. But when that number CPI, that's why when it came over to here, I said it's all just as expected. So the market's just going to sort of regain what it was doing before. Now it's even going higher. Palantir going against the market today. Not a trade for this guy.
Let's have a look at some of these solar names. Back to the upside we go here as my cables are falling off the desk. Enphase trying to get back above 109 and hold right now. Again, this is just a interest rate play, some potential policy to come if depending on how the election goes coming up in November after the debate last night. All of these kind of looking the same right now. I just pulled up Enphase. You can have a look at FSLR. First Solar, same thing, trying to get back above 218.
Yeah, it's interesting here. TAN is up 3 2/3. That's the solar ETF, TAN. So good look there. Obviously, solar was mentioned in the debate yesterday. Donald Trump saying that he's a big fan of solar, but criticized it for requiring too much land. We know separately the Democrats are pro this renewable energy spending. We'll keep an eye on that. Just give you a little bit of data with respect to the solar industry in the States. So U.S. Solar installed about 40 gigawatts of power last year, and the solar industry is projected to grow in the coming years. And that could be helped, Brendo, by lower yields.
Yeah, these have been hurt. If you go all the way back to, the end of the pandemic, really, it's just been straight southbound. This is a weekly chart for Enphase. Hasn't done anything all year, just dropping around $100.
When we were brought to solar earlier on in the show, I was looking at Enphase and it was like First Solar. But I think maybe for most traders out there, you might be interested in looking, I guess, at Solar Edge. How many down days in a row? You can count them up if you want to, but this would be the first green one if it even has one. So Sedge here, clear downward trend and a bit of a reversal candle at $18 yesterday. I say a bit because it's not an extreme one, but when this happens, you get one good up day. That's all it's going to take. If the market decides it wants to break higher, and I don't love the notion that it's only looking like a quarter basis point cut, but it is what it is. Stock's going to go where it wants to go. This one looks a little bit more interesting, I think, than First Solar. Just because it's been bled so much to that downside. You get that first big day to the upside, and it can be a good one. Now, maybe you don't get 18.20. I think that's like the obvious level in here. We had previous lows. You probably have to look at the pre-market low trying to hold for like a little bit of a gap and go. But yeah, like I said, I'm just more interested in DJT, and I like AMD today. And we haven't even talked about Tesla has a big double top in there. Apple made a double bottom at 217, so looking for longs on that stock. And then Mara, because of crypto, we're going to get to in a quick little second. But Sedge, this one's up 7.5%. Feel like it's going to be the mover over looking at something like a First Solar or an Enphase, but that's just me.
Buys are almost at $30. Yeah, look, so none of these names will get traded today, but I think TAN down here at 37 or 38 could be something. We talked about this as an ETF. I just, watch out for this. I think if you want to buy something, I feel pretty safe about doing this. We were just at, in June, $50, $49. You're down to 39 right now. It's a nice pull down for the ETF. I think you can buy it. It looks like Kamala now, I just checked. Don't at me. I just checked the odds on DraftKings there. Now Kamala minus 125. versus President Trump plus 100. So that's pretty equal. I think so. Neil's saying it's over, but no, those are pretty good odds. I still think
not
for
really
Donald
over.
Trump, no, not even close. But the favor is there now on the Dem side. So, you know, it's been a swing, right? When Joe Biden was in there, I feel a lot more confident that President Trump was going to be the next president. Now I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. And I feel like that's fine. That's how you're supposed to feel at elections, I guess. Straight down the middle. So it's not something that we vote for. It's something that you guys vote for. And, you know, if Kamala gets in with the Democrats, I do think this TAN ETF will get a bump. So if that's how you want to play it, I don't think that that's the end of the world. And then there's also, this just keeps getting beat up. I mean, I remember when we were talking about this, traders were talking about a breakup here at $33 on uranium. That was basically the top. And now you're coming back in, and where can we find a bottom? I mean, you know, myself and Nos boss there talked about $25 a while. I'm still not in this. I remember when it was here and it went up to 27. He's like, oh, that was a good call. But I'm not. And I was like, yeah, I wish I would have taken it. Now you have an opportunity to take it now. Still underneath 25. I don't know about uranium, but this is another name here that could get going. CCJ Cameco, if you're into the equity. Nvidia is still $1.50. I'm actually going to clean up. We have a bad wick there. I don't know. Normally we don't get these wicks, but I'm going to clean up this data editor right there. But still a nice little play for us on Nvidia now. $1.50 in the money. It's high there. Was 109.70. Man, I'm getting excited for that 110 break.
Just seeing dollar moving around here once again, back to the upside right now. There's also the DXY. There was a downtick, but then we ripped right back to day high. So I wanted to mention AMD real quick. There was a Oracle executive that was basically saying that a lot of AI developers are now making the switch from Nvidia to smaller providers like AMD. So yeah, I mean 2% right now for AMD to start things off here this morning. Not seeing anything else significant for them. This portion of the show brought to you by Moomoo. They're shaking up the investing game with their cash sweep program, offering an incredible 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, far surpassing typical stock returns. This all-in-one app, backed by the NASDAQ and the SEC, ensures your funds are safe with FDIC insurance up to $500,000. Your cash earns interest 24/7, and you can access it anytime to reinvest when the market turns. Plus, sign up now, snag 15 free stocks and bonuses up to $2,300 in Canada. Don't let your money sit idle. Make it work for you. Did you have anything to add there for AMD? Nice.
Yeah, it was interesting, Brendo, because yesterday AMD and AVGO Broadcom were distinctly strong in the microchip sector where you did not see that strength everywhere else. So that stood out to me, looking for specifically what was said here. But what really kind of confuses me a little bit is AMD. You hear about the issues that they're having create or manufacturing these GPUs because they get Taiwan Semi to make the majority of them. But Taiwan Semi, most of their output really is being given to Nvidia. We're hearing rates of 80 to 90% of the GPUs created by TSM go to Nvidia. So wondering how they're going to be able to get their hands on these if TSM can't produce it for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the story, right? The demand and, the supply just not equaling out at this point. This is from the information, guys, so viable source. Oracle Cloud executive Karen Bata saying that some customers developing AI are turning to AMD chips. Again, that's from the information. So, yeah, 2% now for AMD.
I'm going to get to that in a quick little second, but I did want to get to Easy Media. It's a super chat here. Thank you very much, Easy Media. We appreciate all our viewers. We love it when you give us super chats. All we ask is you enjoy the show, learn something, hit that like and hit that subscribe when you get a quick second. What's the short float for HQ, please? So I don't have I asked in the chat already, can you clarify the symbol that you're looking for? Because I don't have HQ. So just let me know. I don't mind checking. We have multiple sources we can look at. I can look at my trade ideas anytime I want to. So just let me know what it is, which one you're looking for there. I still haven't gotten a response. Or maybe you meant Q. Oh, it looks like it was possibly QH. So let me just go right there. That's an 80. QH is an ADR, so that's only going to have like a 2% short. If you meant QH, the ADR, then that's 1.7. short is the short flow. Now remember with these, for anything like a QH or a runner that's this cheap, it's more about the float than anything else. Like you can squeeze in different ways, right? Like you can have a short float squeeze, shorts covering. You can have gamma squeeze, which is going to be about options and the market makers having to hedge, and therefore you get buying in that regard. And then you're going to have just simply a small float, like a 5 million. It gets soaked up by a few actors, and then they don't release any shares. And suddenly, because there's not a lot of shares available and the stock's going up, then you get a squeeze in that regard because there's just not a lot of the free float that's available to trade. So there's a lot of ways in which things can go up. I think in this case, you're looking at the last one. It's about the 5 million float on QH. So hopefully that helps you out. AMD is what it is. I mean, I can throw you to the note here. AMD, after strong move yesterday, 143.50 set the breakout, simple over under. And that simply means at the open, looking for a breakout. Obviously, you've broken the you-know-what out of this to the upside, but it's still got room. This is the thing about this. It's got theoretically room. It's all in theory because you're just looking at lines on charts. Like this is the resistance that we just broke. So 148, 149 up top in here. That's where I'm looking to go to. And if you're going to dip, you got to look for trend back in. Whether you get the breakup price seems unlikely. VWAP's always a good buying spot. I think in here where it checked up and then broke out again, about 144.5 to 145, that would be the dip zone for me. And look, it's obviously a strong one in there. We already talked about crypto a little bit. Just the way that Mara moved yesterday with Bitcoin doing nothing and given the reaction, the muted or non-existent reaction in crypto to last night, I feel like all of that exuberance here, I'd rather be fading this one even into a strong market. So these tops that we made yesterday, it closed at 1594. If it doesn't break out above there, I'd wait until it at least tests those highs. You're either failing pre-market highs when looking for a trend trade, or if it breaks the pre-market highs, it's in breakout mode. You have to wait for resistance to pull in because the market's screaming to the upside. So as I said, AMD is already through our 143.5. Going to look for that dip. VWAP's in play. 145 is in play as well, as we did just get past 925. So there are some imbalances in there. Oh, that QH actually has an imbalance. So easy. QH has a 600,000 sell imbalance if you're looking at that stock. Palantir, 400,000 sell imbalance as well. Nothing really big outside of those two.
What's up, everybody? Sticky Note Nation is long and strong here already. Look what we wrote down for Google, 150.50. You know when we wrote that down when it was at 148, and now it's at 150.50. So although we'll have $1.50 on Nvidia, this Google bottom was actually $2 from top to bottom. So I feel pretty good about that one. We have Amazon here at 178 dip buy, but again, with the CPI coming through, you're not going to get anything around 178. Of course, we wrote that at 179. Nice upside movement here. So if we do get a pullback, there are a couple good ideas. I do like the Tesla break upside at 226.50, and that could be coming out right now as well on Robotaxi news. We said watch out for the CPI, but let's get ready to rock and roll here. As we are ready to go, real traders unite. Let's trade some of these names. Tesla up at 226.50. Again, a name that could break. I mean, there it is right there, 226.80, 226.50. Could be a good little break long. The name that I'm most excited about today is going to be Nvidia because we have that top at 110. So if you can come over here, Fabian, we'll have this look right now at 110. Good little movement. We'll see what winds up happening if it breaks. So that's something that we're looking at. We're already $1.50 in the money and printing over here. So again, you know, just take it one step at a time, and we'll see where we go. Just a quick look on the TQQs. One of the most positive names here on the desk pretty much all year. We'll just wait to see. $60 yesterday was a great level that we had talked about. That's where it fell into today again. So 60, we're looking at that as a level for support in the TQs if we do come back in. Let's go find out what's going to be on the midday show with Sharif.
Get your protractors ready today, guys, because gone lines include a lot of geometry. So we're going to continue our talk about trend. Check that out with Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
Right. Yes, sir. So good luck there.
Where are my math nerds at?
Good luck there, Sharif. Always looking forward to that lesson of the day when we get a chance. As mentioned, there weren't a lot of imbalances worth looking at. That QH is now paired most of it off, but it did make a hefty downward move on that 600 sell imbalance. It's now 180,000 to the sell side. Palantir 350. not a heck of a lot doing on the imbalances this morning. Tesla actually backing away from that double top, at least as we speak. So that might have to wait. But remember, the chip names did not care. Apple, we haven't really shown you the chart, but Apple double bottom the last 2 days at 217 after the event. It's also breaking out. I want to look trend on Apple. I mean, after that double bottom. So you have VWAP here at 220. That could be the first look for sure. So with under 30 seconds to go, it is hump day. It's hump day Wednesday. We're gonna get this one started here with the market already taking flight, and the ringing of the bell, which will be done by Adara, brought to us by Firefly. So shout out to Firefly, but let's get this party started, Adara, and ring it in less than 10 seconds as the market is green and looking to hold on to some of those gains in 4, 3, 2, and 1. You know what to do.
All right, well, the futures starting to look like they're coming downside a little bit here. Let's wait to see what happens with some of these breakout plays that we had on board. Here comes Nvidia. We said this would be a one that we'd have if it takes down 110. We'll be in and then out real quick if there is a fail on this play for Nvidia. But here it comes. Through it all, it's already a $2 winner. We might as well, there it goes. So now we are in now. I was going to say we might as well take some of this out for $2, but it comes in right away, immediately to the upside now, going Nvidia. We're long at 110.11, so it's not like we had a great fill there at all. Nice little pullback in now for Nvidia. So gets a little excited off the jump. Futures are pushing down a little bit here, so watch out. Oh. Maybe try to buy some dip. We're going to wait here. You like some chips with that dip? Apparently we like some chips for sure with Nvidia. So maybe we'll get a piece out here. We already got out of a quarter for whatever that was, 20s or whatever that high was there. Let's take a little bit more out as we failed underneath 110. So this was an early break try. Yesterday, we absolutely destroyed Amazon on a similar break. So right now, we'll sit here and see what winds up happening with Nvidia, trying to get above 110 again. There it goes. Let's see how high this name can fly. No lie, and you know this. It's Nvidia. So Tesla with the move down. We are long Nvidia. And there it is right there. It's a beautiful trade. Hopefully holding that 110 now. Let's see where we go. We're doing it again.
Yes, sir. And I tried to rhyme that one, but I couldn't come up with anything for that. But all you say is ballin' is what that line goes to. So we just got AMD back in. I'm on the offer of DJT, but I'll get to that in a second. DJT trying to press back up. Oddly enough, through $16. It did make a move to the downside. I just got DJT. So 45 came in heavy on AMD and immediately lost it. And I was looking for a VWAP in there at that point. Then it reclaimed the 145 level. I'm looking to see if this can get back to that 146. DJT is heading back into the upside. This is VWAP. This is a lower high in here at 16.25. If it loses 16.25, I should say breaks 16.25. I want to jump out and look for the next opportunity. I kind of only want to be short this name, at least for now. Tesla did not make that break. Tesla dumped off of that 226 level. It's headed down to 222. If we get to 219, 220, that would be the buy zone, but Tesla's taking it on the chin right now as we speak.
Yeah, we're long Tesla 222.20 right now, and yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
On the chin. So yeah, oops, are we on even on, oh, we're still on Nvidia, sorry about that. There goes Google trying to break through 150.50. This was again, another price that we liked. We're gonna get out at 221.50 on Tesla if that winds up breaking. It's Nvidia that is just the monster trade of the day. One more time, we'll have that on for you. It's your Trader TV Live trade of the day with Nvidia breaking through 110 as posted on your free resource. The sticky note props it up right there as we get going back up to the upside. Oh my, we're having a day again. Let's go Nvidia. Let's go Tesla. Good trading abound right now. 222.10 there on Tesla. So far so good here as we go nuts. Neil, it's another dollar right now on Nvidia as we get into 111 right now. Yeah. Hey, man, as it was written, we keep on saying that. Shout out to our guy, Nas, right now. Google might be the one that's failing, so we're fine with that. As we get out, we're probably up. Oh, man, you know what? P&L is irrelevant because there's only one. Look at Tesla there. $1 right now in the money on Tesla as well. That was a good call off that bottom. So here we go, man. Let's see if we can get something out in and around 223. Oh, boy, it's another one here today. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Nvidia, Tesla, Google, and that's it for me.
Okay, I want to look at Google in a quick little second there because the market's absolutely flying. I'm surprised that any big cap name is not flying to the upside. Unfortunately, don't add us. It is what it is. Trades are trades. DJT got to VWAP, and DJT is now at the low of the day again. So I felt like there were going to be a couple of opportunities to short, and technically speaking, only one of them actually hit. So DJT off VWAP, rounded into 16. It's about to break 1550. There are no levels anymore on DJT. Every single bottom it makes would be an all-time low since the transition. Obviously, you've got other prices in there when you consider the pre-SPAC, but most of that heads down to $10, as Sean mentioned. So 15.25 next out in front, and then 15 even would be that key price. It is short sell restricted. That means every even dollar, I'm cognizant of the fact that you could have a huge SSR bounce, but for now, this one's heading into the downside. We got a half buck on it. Want to see if we can get all the way down to that 15 level. You know what? There's buyers here. There we go. There was buyers stacking up a bit, so I just got some more out there, 35 instead of 25. Now we'll hold on to the rest. But you know what? AMD can't seem to hold on. I got in, got back in 45s. It gave me 75s, 145, 75 out, and then just lost VWAP. So, yeah, you are starting to pull back a little bit here, more than expected. Although, before we go to Adara, Apple holding the highs pretty well.
Applied DNA on watch here, APDN. This one is a small cap, about a $13 million market cap. Short float of about 16% with a float of 10 million shares. Company announces that they're expanding their testing services here to include testing for some of these Mpox variants. So Mpox-related catalysts sending APDN to high of days, guys.
Got some more Google down here, making it a little bit better. I'm just into so many trades right now. It's only the three of them, but we are trying to get back and forth there. We actually made a little bit of money back on Tesla from buying that 221 there. We bought it right there, got some out 222, 222.15, but it is losing it right now pretty good, Tesla, to the downside as the market as well starting to fade out. So it's just the best name, man. It's just Nvidia right now trying to get higher. So that name trying to go. Google trying here, but if we lose this 149.50, then we're gone. We are still positive today. I mean, this is going to be and has been a good day, but that Tesla, we just got out of that one, breaking through 221 and looking to go lower. Really, it was just because we actually stepped up and put on shares, and that was a good trade there for us on Nvidia. This is why and how you actually, put up some numbers by taking trades and believing in them. We're only going to go 2 for 3, 1 for 3, basically. Tesla's going to be a flat trade. Looks like Google's in a bit of trouble here. I would love for this to get back up to 1. There's Nvidia again. I mean, I feel like you just trade. This is back-to-back days we had 110 on for Nvidia, and yesterday it did not break. Let's see if we can hold. I do have an offer at 111 to see if we can get out of that one. But really now it's going to be the Google show. If this can get back up, we already put some offers there in and around 150. So if it can get back up into that area, then let's just sort of lick the wounds because we're already down to VWAP. And if we break that, then we don't want to be part of it. A very good positive day here so far, but a lot of that is on the backs of Nvidia. So, so far so good here. You were in AMD there. You got DJT. So a couple different names being traded here, but at the end of the day, it's a nice positive one. So let's see what winds up happening. A nice bounce there on VWAP for the TQs. Let me guess, 60. That was going to be a level that we wanted to talk about, $60.40. So watch out for those TQQs.
So very quickly, Blake Cotton, I don't know the story on Geo, but it is down 10% now SSR. So I'll scan the news, see if I can find something for it. DJT is starting to bounce, so it looks like it was the right decision. There was, like I said, there was a buyer, or there were buyers in plural, who knows, at about 1535 when I was looking for the quarter bounce. And you could see it kind of stack up there, hold the level, refresh, all that good stuff on the tape. It did not get back into VWAP. If we make a fresh low, I am looking for 15 even as the next out. So I'm going to get on the bid and just be ready in case it flashes down there. GameStop was the other one that we're looking at. Under 21. It cannot break that 21. The over-under 21 looking pretty solid as that just continues to flush. So I think it's trend down as long as we're holding underneath that $21 level. And the other one we wanted short, I said short the pop, but the market was going up and there was no pop in Mara. Mara continuing to head to the downside, now 5% down. Got to wait for it to come into VWAP here. Maybe the pre-market lows, but I prefer to be patient waiting in for VWAP.
Yeah, Tesla just held 220 there. I see that. All right, guys, the number one trade of the day. It's Nvidia breaking 110. We called this the Trader TV Live trade of the day, even when we had it and it was just going. So we already had this name at 108 today. It's now at 111.50, Neil. Nvidia continues to put up numbers. And those of you that are trading it, all about that, man. I mean, there's the one dip. We got nervous on that first break. We got some out at 75, then we got some out at 90s. And right now, $1.50 in the money here. Well, we're actually much more than that, but let's see if we can take out something now at $1.32 and see if we can go a little bit higher. So far, so good. I mean, you know, Google went back up. We actually got a fill there for roughly flat, 150.05. We're long at 150.12s here on this name. So let's just continue to watch out for this. And yeah, we'll be here for it. Nvidia, Tesla just holds 220, I saw in
Big
the
time.
chat. So that was a good hold down there in and around 220. This is going to be a losing stock for me today, but not by much. So we will try to get a little bit of revenge on this name, but there's no way I want to trade it if it is going to the downside. The market rate here is trying to break lower. So all of these shorts will not pay, including Google, which goes into the garbage there. Finally failing one more time for Google. So that was the only real problem. Buying these dips were fine. We're coming into the 200 period. Maybe we need to look at that one. There goes Tesla breaking through 220. That trade is now finished. We'll wait to see if Tesla can find a base, but it's just Nvidia, and Nvidia has been by far a big name here. It's going to be P&L number one. I'll check the rest of the floor in a minute, but it's only 940. So right here, Google down to 149. Let's try to find some areas.
Yeah, so I just got a quick little update for you guys. Again, double bottom now, same level, DJT. It's the only thing we're still in. That 1535, you're still finding buyers down there. They just held it. And that was a pretty decent reversal candle, looking like it was going to flush. They just held it again, so I'm grabbing more out. Might have to wait for a VWAP or trace. But yeah, it's looking pretty ugly to the downside for a lot of names. Now, Tesla at that 220, just very quickly going to zoom it out for you guys to be able to see. There was like a 219 bottom, so if the market is going to give back, I think you could still break 20, get to a 19. But the other thing that's happening here is Mara doesn't want to bounce. Mara is just holding lows here. I'm looking for the first available pop to try to jump into a short. It seems like it wants 15 in a bad way for that bounce. The pre-market low is holding. Just got to be patient with it to try to find some kind of a short trade in there on Mara. It is, I don't want to say it's bleeding, but down 5%. I mean, the market's really not having that much movement, and clearly this is a weak stock. Apple is still above VWAP, still above yesterday's highs. That's a big rejection candle. I want it to settle down a little bit here. I thought maybe 220 would be something. Right now it looks like 221 wants to hold on Apple. Because of that 17 double bottom, I do favor longs on this, but the way the market came in, we want to be a little bit patient here. Let's see it hold VWAP first. It hasn't really done that with any strength just yet. Federa?
Beware of the children's place here. We already mentioned this one on the big desk this morning, but PLCE, this one is a smaller cap name here. They do have a short float. I was seeing anything from 19% to 47%, so just be aware of the short float on PLCE. Trading higher after earnings. They did miss on sales, but they actually had an unexpected profit here. So this one on watch. It has already halted, guys.
All right.
That's 47% short float on Children's Place. 47%. That's not small. That one can do a lot of things.
So right now, Google, 25 cents in the money. We'll see if we can get this one back going upside right now. Nvidia was just a ho-hum. We just took 110 break with serious shares to the upside right there. 111.70 coming through, $1.70 now in the money. And I know you guys are like, oh my God, why is this kid not still on Tesla? Yeah. I mean, we can't have them all, but we should have this. I mean, there's that 220 level there. I was just looking at the charts and was like, yeah, I don't know, man. Once we broke that 221, felt like we could have gone a little bit lower. 219 would have been a nice little spot there. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We're really starting to print, though, man. Neil, it is almost $2 now in the money on Nvidia, and it's actually $3. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Obi. Coming through there, Nvidia 110. That bottom right there from the morning was taken right there at 108. So there's our first take on Nvidia. There's the next one up to 112. So far, so good on that. Google trying to go. I mean, we just got something out there at 70 after buying some 149 and changes. came into the 200 period. We're trying to be as disciplined as it is right here for the market. So we're working on 5 straight green days here, and it's been a good one so far, needless to say. Here today, we did slip up on Tesla and on Google, but Nvidia really holding fort right now for us as that continues to climb higher. We only have 15% left, but I really like the stock. And where can we go? Good question, Sean. What about 116? You know, what about into here? That little drop started at 116. There isn't much action here. I mean, that one right there is 111, 111.20. We are climbing higher and higher through there right now. So let's go. I mean, for Google, same way. We can get back to this 150.50. And if we do that, then we're singing again. So yeah, man, so far so good here. Let's just keep the sort of the good vibes going here today, and you know, keep hitting winners for you left, right, and center. What's up, Adara?
Another small cap earnings name to be aware of here. This one is Petco Health, WOOF or WOOF. This one does have a short float here of about 7%. Market cap of just under $1 billion. They reported earnings. They did miss on sales, lower than expected forward guidance, but WOOF picking up some volume here as it gets to a new high of day, guys.
Wolf making some power moves. I mean, look, if I'm looking at a small cap today, it's DJT and it's GameStop. Those are the ones that I want to be focused on. So we want to stick to them. Mara, I guess, counts as well. But Apple here, it didn't hold on to VWAP. You're still trending down. If you want to buy a dip, I want to be patient, especially the way this market is opening up and now heading back even lower. So this is a NASDAQ in, and you're still seeing a little bit of weakness after we got that initial move. If you can't break back above this 18.8 I don't necessarily love these dips unless we get a little bit lower. So I might have to wait till 220 or the pre-market lows here on Apple. Again, I don't have to sit on the falling knife. I can like along, but you're so far away from 217 and that double bottom that jumping in too early can be a little bit of trouble. As far as GameStop goes, as I mentioned, this one now trending to the downside. I don't think we're going to get those 21s again, so I have to abandon the opportunity to short 21s and look at VWAP in here. If we get to 20.5, the 20 break is looming. I'd rather it pop and fade than try the break at 20 because it's SSR. I don't like breakdown trades on stocks that are more than 10% to the downside. It's a good way to get trapped. So if it fails a 20 break, I'd probably look short into VWAP. DJT, we're just going to hold on for now. That's still looking very, very good to the downside. But we did miss that shot, like we said, on MARA. And now it's starting to come into VWAP. It just tagged it and looking to hold underneath again. So there's the pop. And here's the opportunity for the fade play on MARF. Kind of the first available pop back into VWAP here on MARA. I mean, Bitcoin not doing a heck of a lot, but I think the reason for the short has to do with the fact that everyone was buying this with reckless abandon in the afternoon. And then when you got a nothing burger at the debate, I guess there's some people that might have been trapped.
Yeah, pretty much of a nothing burger there. We talked about that with Justin Zacks there, hoping that there was going to be some kind of talk there, as Donald Trump was. Obviously a proponent of Bitcoin there. All right, so it looks like I'm just on Google right now. If you guys are looking at this name, it is coming back in as the market fades pretty nicely here, back down into the downside. So good little trade there if you're short, that is for sure. Short the market was a nice call. That is good. We'll say a shout out to my guy back there. You know, again, we don't give enough credit. Well, we give a lot of credit here, but Obi, shout out to Obi there, had some great trading yesterday. Look, for me, man, ego's not a thing, man. I will just throw credit around here as much as we can. Shout out to Obi on that one. Good trade there for DJT over there with Neil as well. But here we go, man. Nvidia, $1 in the money. Google now 15 cents in the money. Trying to get back up, man. We do have a little bit more shares here, and it's not trading very well, Google. So this is like a day maker if it goes, and not a day breaker if it goes the other way. So I like those odds. May they forever be in your favor. That's a movie. What movie is that?
It's the Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger Games. Shout out to Jennifer Lawrence, if you know what I'm saying. Let's go, Google. Here we go. It's a face slapper. The action is here, man. Hey, we're here every single day. And there it goes, man. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now. As Google goes, as Nvidia goes, we've got DJT on our mind. We've got Mara on our mind. And I believe we have Adara at the desk.
You have CCJ here getting a nice volume spike compared to any of the volume it had previously. A lot of these uranium names pushing higher right now. We do have around 9:30 9:30, a little bit before 9:30, we had news here that Kazatomprom, which is one of the top uranium producers, has secured a license for exploration in the Turkestan region. So new uranium exploration, sending some of these names in that space to the upside, guys.
Uranium. I love that uranium. We talked a little bit about that before. As we continue to watch, we're watching The Simpsons with the family. I finally found something on Disney that is worth watching. We did finish The Bear, which was disappointing, to be honest with you. At the end of it,
Everybody told me that's the show to watch.
It was. The first season and second season, I think, were pretty good. Very.
I love the kid. What's his name?
I have no idea what the guy's name is.
But
Google, I think is he one hit one? Is he from something?
No, he's from Shameless. He's like he's like one of the better characters in Shameless.
Yeah.
Coming in very quickly here. So AMD did not hold. So here's a litmus on AMD. 145, first time loss, second time win, then back in. So 1 for 3 on AMD and down, and now it's back at the breakout price. So the breakout happened on the number, and we didn't get it. That was 143.5. Now it's trying to bounce off that same even dollar area. So I'm in 2 shorts and 1 long. I would like to make it 3, but I'm not going to chase GameStop. We got to get ourselves a good entry into GameStop. But this is at 143.5. Let me show you the 15. If you're just tuning in now, this is what AMD looked like on the break. To lose this would not be good for AMD. So it actually is losing it now. I'm not jumping short on this idea. I just want to see it put in a higher low. I'm not going to reverse it, not until I see it hold under. But the shorts had been, the shorts have been the better trades for me so far. And I want to see if we can't get into the one that was supposed to be a headliner, and that's GameStop. It just broke 20. I said I want to look for a fade.
Yo!
Oh my goodness, there he is.
What is going on, my guy?
I didn't even.
Ice is in the building right now.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
We are in the building. How's it going, Mr. O'Keefe?
Good. I'm good. I brought my compadre Marshall.
Hi, Marshall.
How's it
How are
going,
you doing,
Marshall?
Marshall?
Come on board.
We're ready to go. We're trading the markets. They're open. We've got some Nvidia on our mind.
There you go.
We've got ready
apple
to go. We've got
fritters
some
on.
apple fritters. We're trading some Google.
I can't eat this any longer, so I thought.
You're looking good, my guy,
know.
over there. Look at this guy.
Bad.
I got to get on that diet.
I got on your.
That's a good
I got to
one
get
right
on your
there.
program.
I wore my traditional garb, my vest.
there we
It's
go.
dangerous with this.
Yeah. Now he's on the mic.
I always want to say like Roxanne.
You have any rhymes you want to spit in there?
I have
you got a
no
little
rhymes.
Drake
I'm gonna
action.
pass this to my colleague. Hold on, Marshall.
Get in there.
Do you want to say who you work for? Which company you're here representing?
Sure. Do I need to?
Yeah, it's on.
Marshall and I both represent ICE Data Services.
Bang.
And we're here from the U.S. to have a client appreciation event on Thursday, and I'm glad to see my favorite Canadians, right?
There we go.
Hit the OK. Now let's look at this, Marshall. Check the screen out. There's the screen right there for
Now
Mr.
we're
Mark
talking.
O'Keefe.
Hold
We've
on.
got O Canada going on there. Marshall, what is your role?
He's actually Canadian. Hold
I
on.
am actually.
What?
Get
You
in
don't want to
here.
take the
Get in
mic?
here.
Come on, Marshall.
Come on, Marshall.
No, I can't be doing any
Don't
of
be
this
shy,
stuff.
don't be
Oh,
shy.
I'm very
So
shy.
you're with ICE as well?
I am. I'm on the real-time side of the business, so
Good.
all the data flowing in.
Yeah. Well, we have some data flowing.
You can't
here. We have
trade
some
without
real-
data.
No.
All right, I have real-time equity and capital on the line, so I'm going to let you guys go in a second. But I do want to thank you for the fritters. We got some nice crullers there, and it looks like some Boston cream
Yes.
action.
Plenty of cookies in the back.
And more cookies.
Good to see you
Mark,
guys.
come on, man.
Sorry to pop in.
Oh,
Sorry to pop in.
do not apologize.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing? Hi,
Hold on,
Sean.
where's Brendan? Hiding or?
Brendan, no, we got rid of him. Yeah,
he's
so don't
right
worry.
there.
Oh, no, he's actually right behind you.
Yeah,
My
he's
bad.
right behind
Right there. And I don't know if you know Sharif. He's over there as well. Sharif, this is Mark. Okay.
Totally turned the place upside down. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you. Bang,
All right,
bang.
thank you so
Randy,
much.
get these out of here, man. We'll get those in a minute. We are at the highest spot we've been at all day. That's called content right there, baby. Now let's get going to the upside. Nvidia, it's starting to go. Yeah, you know what's been happening there? I don't know if Mark is a Google fan or not, but that stock starting to go upside since that man came on the screen. So I like ye a lot. Google letting it spin. It is a trophy day on this side. One more time over here, guys. I told you 5 straight up days. We're not stopping. Let's go back over to the desk. It's A.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else, pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
Yeah, right there. As we'll get out of it as it breaks back down through 110. I mean, what a money-making trade Nvidia was there. So some good outs, man. We have the out at 112, which is pretty good. The market now failing back into the downside. Again, a big shout out to my guy Wayne in the back. A big shout out to many traders there doing quite well. Their host Joe and so forth. Putting up some days. Google trying to go. We got a good out there up near the 50 period, up near VWAP, but they're all falling back in right now. So we got a couple shorts on this side with Mara and DJT. We might have to flip over into some shorts, guys.
I'm looking over. Okay, so DJT, by the way, just bounced back into VWAP. Remember that the buyers at 15.35 are legit. It tagged down there again. It's for whatever reason, it's exactly at $15.35. They just keep buying it up. If it breaks out at VWAP, I'm out of this thing if it takes 16. It's 10% down. It's a squeeze type of name. And if it just goes squeezing, then I want to get out of the way. Like, it worked, but you're now getting higher lows into that 16 level. If VWAP doesn't hold, I fear for that stock. If the market's heading back and we're going to have a red day, I know we failed to look at Intel today, but I mean, come on, it is what it is. Intel, as usual, gets to like the first breakout level, tries to break, fails break, trend down. VWAP short. So anytime it looks like this, I want to short it back into VWAP. If that's going to be the case, we just have to be patient. But it's starting to look a little bit weak over there. Mara was we had just gotten like 10 cents in the money, and then we're reloading at 30s, and then we just lost 5 pennies on it. So Mara is actually trying to break back out. If it can hold under VWAP, I'll re-enter. Otherwise, I'm going to wait for it to get into those highs. So recap, DJT's trying to bounce, but if it doesn't break 16, then I'm going to stick with the shorts in there. Apple was the one we're looking for a dip buy. It's now starting to look a little bit better here for Apple. Catching a bid right at the 830 number. It was 220.35. It's bouncing off 220.35. I like that spot. So the CPI high, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, is now the support level for AAPL. I wanted to be long, but we said we'd be patient for some buying to come in, and it's starting to come in. I'm going to try and pick up some 50s and then give it to that 220 and a third.
Great to see Mark there today. We just had Google nicely taken to the upside again, now breaking through the 50-period moving average as we just continue to print over here. Nvidia, again, 109.90 we're long at. I don't know if this one's going to work, guys. We just got some out in the teens. There we go. We'll get another piece out there as well. Sorry, no, that was Google we got out of there. Sorry, my bad. More Google out at the top. Wow, what a day this is turning out to be here. One more time. Neil's got that Mara. We've got Nvidia, DJT coming through again right now. Sorry, just DJT Mara now out. Nvidia, 50 cents in the money. Google, 70 cents in the money as we get excited one more time. Let's look to see what else we were trying to trade. We were trying to trade some Amazon today. Ooh, Amazon down at 178. That was the level for us. Is the market going to hold or not? I'm just going to punch in there. We are long now on Amazon. We had written down on the sticky note 178 for a possible dip buy. That's coming in pretty quick. That bottom there was 177.57. So I feel comfortable if we break this 178 to maybe just fly out, and then we'll see. We don't have many shares. That was just a quick little take there. So let's not panic on what we have, but this is a little lower than I'd thought. I did not think Amazon would be double the market to the downside. I mean, yesterday it was probably the biggest trade of the month here on the show. And it was to the long side on that 178.50 break. So now I'm just looking at it. That's a 177.50. Yeah, I don't know if we really want to be in this. We might have just jumped the gun a little bit. Let's take something out here at 10s there. We're offering 10s. We just punched some out at 8s there. We don't have many shares, so hopefully it will work. There it is. We'll take some more out at 10. So we got out of half now for 10 cents. We've already got Nvidia and Google long. I mean, I would love for Amazon to work, but right now we'll take a 20-cent hit on half of it and then see if we can get back up to the upside. I'll see about supporting that bottom there on Amazon, but that's 170. Here, it probably is right here. That's not right. 177.12. That's going to be incorrect. The bottom right there, let's just respect whatever it is. About 50s, right? So 177.50. So I will buy some Amazon down here at 177.80 or so is the reload spot for Amazon. Google's trying to go. I'm not happy with it. I'm going to offer some out there, punch out some 77s, start to slowly get some out. It's a P&L green day here, so hopefully that will hold out. if Nvidia, where's the stop for Nvidia? Many of you are asking. Maybe not. 109.50 right there. Sort of that little break spot there. We do not want to be in it if this comes back in to 109.50, which apparently it's doing right now.
Goldman Sachs Technology Conference at 10 o'clock. Nvidia is just hearing in my ear from Benzinga. Nvidia is going to be presenting or talking at that, it looks like. So maybe look out for some movement at that time. It's just actually 1 minute. So we'll see if they announce anything. A lot of times, you never really know what can happen. GameStop, it did do that false break of 20, but then the break of 20 was better than coming back in. It broke 20. You could have had 1980s. I said my plan was to look for a fail break. It came back, gave 20s, failed it. I got 95s, and then it just broke consolidation to the upside. So unfortunately, I think you had to take the initial break on GameStop, but it is what it is at this point. Apple cannot seem to hold. So the market's bleeding. I said I'd wait for the first chance that Apple looked strong off of a level I liked, and it came all the way back to our, call it the CPI level, because that's where we were, essentially right at 830. It bounced off it the first time, so look for it to hold the second time. You'll see it not hold support. If it can hold on to 220 even, I suppose that would be a different level that we can play into. But yeah, not doing what I'm expecting here. It really has just been the shorts. And as I said, I'd love to get into Intel short, but this is allergic to VWAP right now. Down 1%. The market is only 0.5% to the downside. So that's check one, because it's relatively weak, and it's got a ton of room to yesterday's lows. So joining this there's no green candles on this stock on a 15-minute. Joining this to the short side, there's still plenty of room to do so. Just got to be patient with it. And DJT obviously didn't break that VWAP just yet, but let's go to Adara at the desk. Why is this through the price?
Very exciting, pretty volatile day for the markets thus far. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ selling off despite initially seeming pretty strong here, with the SPY running into multi-day resistance at this 548.50 level. We'll have to see what happens here for these markets. CPI data coming through at 8:30 a.m., pretty much in line with estimates. No other economic data to keep an eye on today, but CPI could be interesting with the FOMC meeting for September happening next Wednesday, so 1 week from today. Another thing on a lot of people's minds was the second presidential debate for the U.S., which happened last night. So lots of catalysts to talk about in this market. GameStop trying to make a new low of day here, down about 15%. They did have a sales miss, but a gap EPS beat to talk about here for GME. Solar on watch here. I have Solar Edge here, SEDG, this whole sector on watch after the election, pushing higher. On the flip side of that, we have a lot of these crypto-related names in Bitcoin and Ethereum pushing lower, with Donald Trump, who has been positioning himself as a pro-crypto candidate, certainly keeping these names on watch throughout the cycle, guys.
Thank you, Adara, for that one, man. You're going to come back to some excitement, boy. That's a nice little buy on Amazon right there, Neil. 60 cents now in the money on Amazon. We're going to be up pretty much cruising right now. Nvidia was a good dip buy as well, as you guys can see there. Now taking 110 again, trying to get back up to the upside. Man, if this name goes, wow, we are at the highest spot we've been at all day right now. We're sitting on 3 50-cent winners right now. So we'll get out more here on Google. Google's the one that I'm like sketchy on, but could still get back to the high there. So we'll hold a little bit. The name that I'm obviously really excited about there is going to be Nvidia. We're long underneath the spot that we love of 110. So, but look at that, just got pushed back in a little bit there. Let's put something else at 08s here. We're riding a 5-day win streak, so we're going to keep on going, not in the market, in the P&L spot right now. So let's just keep on reading it right, hopefully, and taking out profit where profit lies. That's the way to make money, right? I mean, you sit there, you can trade 7 or 8 names, but if you're down on 6 of them, it's going to be tough. So we're just going to try to sort of ease it out, right? You're not going to be right all of the time, that is for sure. But as long as at the end of the day, you look down at your P&L and it's green, then you've had yourself a decent day. Amazon, Google, Nvidia all working right now to the long, with Tesla being the missed opportunity. I mean, we could have bought that 220. That is for sure. So a big shout out. We'll be number 2, but Wayne right now, number 1. Wayne lifting it up on GameStop. So shout out to GameStop trading there in the back.
Dump it.
Yeah, great trade there, Wayne. Yeah, no problem. Good job. Here we go. We're starting to go back up to the upside. Here goes Nvidia. Here goes Google. Here goes Amazon. We on one again here. You guys are watching SoFi. That's good. Neil here on DJT right now. Let's go over to Miss A for a ad read.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health. Our groundbreaking brain network analytics technology is transforming care for patients with depression, dementia, anxiety, concussions, and ADHD. With 15 years of research and a wealth of brainwave data, we're set to illuminate the future of diagnostics and treatment. Pharmaceutical companies and medical practitioners, get ready. FDA 510K cleared BNA technology is here to supercharge your clinical trials and enhance patient care. Join us at Firefly Neuroscience, traded on NASDAQ as AIFF, and be a part of the next big leap in neuroscience. Ignite hope, one brain at a time.
Yes, sir. We love that. We love that story. Obviously, fantastic concept, and wish them all success in the world, because brain health is the most important health. Simple as that. One of the healthiest stocks, I see a lot of people talking about ARM. Ben mentioning this. ARM is up 4 points, headed into the 135 level. That's been resistance for a while. So if it gets into the mid-30s, watch out. There's been sellers there every single time it gets there. That BCTX is halted upside. Should reopen in about 1 minute or so. I see a 173 tap for those that are asking. That means the theoretical auction price, if they open it now, it would open right here, which is significantly off of the highs, unfortunately for that stock. Apple is still trying to hold on. It just did a wick through 220, so failed at 220 level, then came right back in. As long as it can hold 220, I want to jump back into this long. But when it broke stop, get out. If it holds 220, we'll try to get back into it. I still believe in some shorts out there. Obviously, GameStop can be one. I'm looking for a re-entry point now in DJT. Like, it's now shown that VWAP is a bit of a thing. So if I'm trailing this one to 16, I want to move it down to VWAP and then re-enter in front of VWAP, which is about 1580 or so. Starting to calm down into a more gentle downtrend, at least a little bit here after the initial drop on the open, which was a big one. But I think we got to be patient. I mean, the market's trying to make a nice little bounce, and finally finding a bit of a level here is Apple. I'm not going to chase that. Let's back off and wait till it retests that 220 level, which we like a little bit better. Tesla's starting to go, but there's one name that I kind of feel like I forgot a lot about here, and I did write it down, and I want to jump over to just very quickly. It was kind of on my note 2 days ago. I wasn't here yesterday to be able to trade it. But as the market's trying to go, Uber did make that breakdown that we were talking about the other day. It was like a flat bottom break. So it did lose it yesterday, and it tried to break back above and lost it again. So if the market's going to be weak, this is a name that I like to the short side. But it's back at that flat bottom level around the 69 level. So I'd look to pop and fade in Uber. That was an idea that I was looking at yesterday if I had traded. But if it comes back into 69, I do think this is a relatively weak stock worth shorting.
Carlos, did you super chat something there? Did I miss something? Thank you for Carlos. I just saw in Bears vs. Bulls. Bears vs. Bulls, let me know if we missed any sort of a super chat there. We want to make sure that we get into that, of course. All right, so I just have the 3 longs, and I know the longs probably aren't the right play, so we're getting out right now. We keep on saying, like, you could make money, but you can give it back just as fast, especially when you are trading up shares. But at the end of the day, it's the up shares that give you the profit that you need. So we're completely fine with it. We've been reading the market pretty good, but we are starting to get out. So let's just review the positions that we're in case you guys are in these with us. Amazon's not going. So we just keep getting out every time it pops above 178. So we're long here at 177.72. Positive name for us today. Despite losing on that first take, we actually got in and out of that, so that was okay. But since then, been a nice positive stock. But look at the market fading, right? So all we've been doing is getting out on every pop we can. Google came back in. Look at all these outs up here at the 50-period moving average. We are going to watch out for 149.20. I'm not even sure about buying the dips anymore. I feel like we've gotten lucky doing that. But now the market definitely wants to head to the downside. So we got to be careful holding on to any of these longs. I mean, again, and another one there is Nvidia. by far, probably it'll never be caught, but Nvidia for the #1 P&L will be there today. Let's just wait to see if there's some action down here at 109.50. That's the break spot. If it breaks that, then we are out of Nvidia. We'll try one more time, but look where we're long, 109.69. So, you know, that's giving us a little bit of a buffer here in case we're wrong. But that's going to be a trade there. Google, Amazon, I think we just broke down everything, right? Oh yeah, if Google breaks, we talked about that, Amazon breaks. So they're all there for break spots right now. So let's wait to figure out what is happening now with Nvidia, Amazon, and Google. If there's anything else you guys want me to look at, I will definitely do that. Put that in the chat. Meta moving around, not really. No. I saw that name in the chat earlier. Meta just kind of flat. That's going to be a nothing burger for me. The other name that we wrote down on here was Tesla, but let's have a quick look at one of our biggest stocks in their portfolio will be Palantir. And that's starting to go up, which is nice. Maybe a break there of 34.40 for PLTR. And look what that is, though. That is your 50-period moving average. So maybe nothing there for PLTR. But so far, so good. We'll just try to be as patient as we can here with the market now. It's a big day. It's not as big as the last couple days because the follow-through hasn't been here, but we're pretty happy with the performance so far. Maybe buying this dip on Google, but our stop is already a break of 149. So we'll see about buying a little bit more. There it is. So we get a little bit. Let's see if it will pop back up to the upside. Little bit of a buy, dip buy opportunity there. We're long at 149.20 now on Google.
So Apple is holding 220 a lot better the second time through. He actually put in a higher low at 220 and a quarter-ish. I mean, it got to the 20 even. I got 22s on that dip. Gets to the 50. Needs to see VWAP next. We're about 40 pennies in the money, but we get to VWAP. There's been sellers galore at VWAP at 221. If we don't break 221, then I think we got to get out of this one and just take the profits where they lie. I keep telling you, I mean, the market's heading lower. You can want a VWAP or trace, but if you don't get one, you just got to respect the trend. Whatever the next available pop is, I feel like is going to be the name of the game for Intel and Mara. We just want to be able to get in, but I don't want to be overly aggressively chasing it, but they just can't seem to find any kind of a bid here whatsoever. We're still bleeding down. I mean, on the 15-minute in the NASDAQ, it's now 3 up, 3 down. Since we got the numbers this morning, and 3 red candles. If we lose the low of the day here, you're going to want to jump in some of the weaker names to the south side. I did say Uber was another one I was looking for a short in, but that was, again, it was a short the pop situation. So got to be patient. Still looking for the mid-80s here on Intel. And man, if Apple can't get back above, 220.75, like your trend down, false break, you're basically just holding on to the 220 level, and that's about it. Still want to get some shorts in there. And the last one we had mentioned to you guys was Uber. It's at VWAP. I just want to see this break down underneath, and then we would jump into that one. But as you can see, it's still kind of hanging out in the middle of no man's land. Apple's got to do better than 30, 40 cents here. Otherwise, this market could be in trouble. You got to have one of these big cap names try to bounce. And I'm not seeing any that are bouncing currently.
No, there ain't much rate.
You know what's strong? Oracle.
Yeah.
Oracle's really strong.
Love Oracle. All right, so Nvidia, you know what was strong? Yeah, Tesla's been holding up as well. That's not near the bottom, so that could be another name as well. Nvidia did drop out. We talked about that. So in what is not a strong name today, Nvidia, although up 1.5%, you might think, hey, this is a strong name, but unfortunately, we got dropped out there. Oh no, now it's right back up. Looks like we are going to hold. I was waiting, honestly, for 109. We have the 200 period there. That would have been a real nice take. But you know what? Let's just put a bid down there. We'll wait at 109.25. We were a little bit closer to that level because the market was really screaming in. So we wanted to make sure that we gave it a little bit of a thought. And then if it breaks that 108, I mean, what is this level exactly? 108.80, something like that? The 200 period there, we don't want to mess too much with that. 108.80s, so 108 like 85 or so. If it breaks through there, then we will get out. But it looks like Nvidia trying to get back up to the upside, so that might be a trade for us later on. Okay, so here goes Google. It's at 149. It's going to break, and we are going to get out. So right there it goes to the downside. It'll be a negative name after all, so we'll hit the sirens for that one. We are positive on the day, and again, you guys could always ask us that, whatever you want, any of the hosts, of course. Positive on the day here, and that's really just because of Nvidia. Amazon will be up, so we'll go 2 for 4 and positive. So that's what I'm talking about. When something breaks and it's in your favor, you should trade it. And that's how I'm positive, right? And so we'll go 2 for 4 over here on trades today, and we'll be up. So obviously not as good as we had hoped for. We'd hoped for a little bit more. But what can you do? They did not hold. So that Nvidia trade, we don't get stopped out there, we're probably back to day's high. Tesla's basically a flat trade for us today. And then poor Amazon. I say that we're 25 cents in the money. I mean, it's better than losing 25 cents. But at the end of the day, I still think there's more upside here. We do have right now White House's Brainard speaking right now on inflation. So we'll wait to see what happens, but it's a nice move up there for Amazon, trying to get back
She left the Fed,
right now. Yeah, okay. I didn't know anything about that. Here we go, 150 upside for Google possibly coming in. 149. Let's just wait on it though. Amazon's trying to go. Take profit if Amazon gets again back to 178.20. I'm gonna put an offer there.
Yeah, Cale Brainerd, I think, formerly of the Fed, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, I mean, that's what happens. Like, kind of write your own ticket, I suppose, when you leave the Fed. Look, 16's about to go on DJT. We said we had our trailing stop in there. We're holding on to the last 10%. And someone said, is it time to go long? I'm not there yet, because to me, if it doesn't break out a level, it's not squeezing. So this is 16.15 at the open. That was the first level of resistance at 9:30. If it breaks that, then I think you're a little bit more bullish. Even then, might need to break the 16.25. The other squeeze name in here, GameStop, and I tried the 20 level. It's still gently trending, I suppose, back into the upside. This still looks like a short to me. I just wanted to test VWAP in there. But Apple just lost 220. So Apple gave us the bounce initially the second time through, but it just lost the 220 level. So unfortunately, we're trend down here, and you just got to try to jump into some of these shorts. It is what it is. I hate chasing, but I was just unwilling to chase in Intel, and you see it drop almost like 1 point there, and a single candle. This is clearly looking like a reversal red kind of day. And when that's the case, you just got to jump into the shorts. Where we were able to get them. Unfortunately, not able to get this one here, but Uber is still available to us. So we break VWAP, it just broke VWAP, so looking for this one back into VWAP. It didn't take this one, obviously, yesterday as I wasn't here, but flat bottom breakdown. It is what it is, but feel like I missed an opportunity on Uber. I sold, I should say this. I said I was going to sell some of my shares if it broke that flat bottom. My PA, I sold some yesterday, but I didn't get to trade it live.
All right. Everything broke, right? Nvidia broke. Everything broke. So Nvidia coming back in there. Apple breaks as well. But I actually like this Apple trade. Again, we can see if we want to get into this name, AAPL, right now. I'm going to buy a little bit on this breakout, a breakdown actually, and play off that 219.50 area. That was that zone, 219.25 back into pre-market bottoms. Oh no, we just bought in and it's starting to go back up. Okay, we're long now at 67. If we could take a quick 20 cents, we'll try it, but here it comes back in again. We don't want to get caught. This is how we lost all of our money the other time when we started chasing names, not believing in the dip. We've already shut it out. Some of the traders behind us are taking some nice shorts there. We'll see if it does come back in. Google loses it. We're not really down that much on anything here. It's just a matter of we're down right now because of where this market is. But so far here, Apple, and again, we're just talking about some of the trades that we have on board. Apple right now, 219.60s. We'll try to buy that dip against the 219 flat. Wow, here it comes again right now. I mean, this market may just continue to accelerate. We do have that JP Morgan Tech Conference, I believe, or Goldman Sachs, one of them, going on right now. So let's just be careful with exactly what we're doing here in this market. But I'm pretty confident with everything. So we'll hold on. We'll look for some more shorts. It's a good move. We wrote down TQs to possibly go short there at a 60, and that is now gone. But a good little spot here for Apple, I feel like. We'll see if it wants to go. We'll buy some more 50s here, or 29s, and then 49s, see if it goes back up. I would love to get a 200 period fill now. Even back to 220 will be fine for this guy here on Apple. Our stop is 60 cents worth of a trade here. We're trying to get more near the bottom, but this bottom, I don't know if it's going to give out on us or not here, but it's looking like the market just wants to get lower. So that CPI, I guess, coming in as expected. The market, no likey. Let's go over to Neil for an ad read.
Yes, sir. And becoming a funded trader means trading a firm's money instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. You keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm covers the risk. It's the perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Join Trade the Pool. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this stream. And when you're trading, it's always better to be able to trade someone else's money than your own. That said, you got to have those ideas in there. So scan that QR code below. Start your journey over there. Thank you very much to Trade the Pool here. The market is bleeding, however. Bleeding's not the right word. The market is down 1%. I mean, I feel like until you get to 2 points, I don't think you're necessarily all that crazy to the downside. Still in DJT. I think the position board might be wrong. They might need to refresh that, or my next available fill, I guess we'll get it. So there's the down move we said in Uber. I'm going to short back into VWAP if we're able to get it. Let's see what happens next, because you're trying to bounce. I'm going to show you guys the NASDAQ in here. Like, you're trying to bounce at kind of a random area. If you go back into yesterday's trade, it was about 70, 80 points lower than this, where you found some support. And then if you bounce here, kind of looking at the overnight bottom, that 18.7, I feel like that can be a key level for us, the 18.7 level on the NASDAQ. So on the fly, support turning into resistance from yesterday makes some sense to me. So first available pop in Uber just came into 68.15 or so. I just got 13s. It bounced off 68 even, so I should probably get on the bid in front of 68 even. Uber, reason I like it, underneath the 50 period, kind of broke a double bottom yesterday. Feel like it's trending into another test of 67.80, and if it loses that, all bets are off for this stock. This was a flat bottom break yesterday, just looking for some continuation as the market's heading back into some of those lows. So Intel, we didn't get short. Uber was the new short. Still believe like this could go... this could go down any amount here. There's so much room to yesterday's bottoms. We're not going to get VWAP. Going to short back into 18.75. Kind of like we did with Uber. Get the first one you can, not the one you wanted at 9:30.
All right, if you're trading with me or like me, then I think you just always want to trade relative risk, right? I mean, and I think that the thing is that right now, Nvidia, I feel like if we break this bottom, we can get out, right? Breaking up through 40s. So there it is right now. So what I was going to say is I feel like the risk right now, we could get a little bit of a pushback up. I mean, I was looking sort of trying to find a long-term chart here for the futures. It's only 30 minutes, not super long-term. But we have 18.6 right now. That's been an area that we sort of traded around. We're at 18,665 right now, so we're still 60 handles away from potentially getting lower and lower and lower. So we'll wait to see. But right now, we just took 25 cents on the reload there for Nvidia. Nvidia, still, like I said, a very, very positive name there today. I think Apple, since I'm trading it, could get back into the Greensville here. Well, we already are green on Apple, but we'll wait to see it's falling back in. I'm just looking at this 18.6. We could be in a little bit of trouble there if we get into that level. So we're just going to be holding our trades for as long as we can, but there's the out right there. Like, we just bought 659s there. Well, what are we long at Nvidia? 65, sorry. And we got out 95. So that's 30 cents, nicely traded there to the upside. We are also waiting for Apple. We're long at 43s. Let's take a piece out if it comes back up into 40s there. But it looks like it wants to break now through 219 Apple. So, the market not really finding a bottom yet. And when it does, I don't know if we want to be around for it in these longs. So let's just sort of layer out of these trades as the winners come in and not hold on to them like we've been known to do in the past. Right now, Nvidia's 40 cents in the money, trying to get back higher, man. I mean, that'll be great. Looking for like a 109.50 area that we lost before. So that's kind of the target spot there for me on Nvidia. We'll leave Amazon alone. So 109.50, I just said, that makes good. Like a 109.20. Nice little move, 30 cents in the money on Nvidia and 20 cents out of the money on Apple for now. So let's see. We know we've got a good name here. We are net positive today on the day. I think there's just a couple traders there today that are net positive. And it's been pretty 50-50 actually. So a good day so far here for the floor. We had a good day yesterday as well. Let's just wait to see. Here goes Apple. Good trading now. We're back in the money here on AAPL.
Yeah, good trading over there. If you can get Apple to start going, this market could go. It didn't go for me at the level I liked, so I'm backing off of it. I'm back over to Mara. Now, Mara just broke $15. 15 was a big level before. It doesn't matter. Like, it kind of already passed through that. But if you look at yesterday, on the way back to the upside, Mara was able to break out at about 15.10 and start going absolutely crazy. So as long as it holds on underneath that, I want to take a shot at this one a couple of times short at this 15 to 15.10. I don't want to get trapped at the bottom. I don't mind taking a few shots at this, but I don't want to get trapped at a 15 when the trend would say shorted at 15.25. But when it's under 15.10, we're going to take it on the downside, see if it can't hold that resistance level and the trend, which has been weak. Overall, Bitcoin's not really doing a heck of a lot. It is above that 55,000 level. And the other thing I wanted to quickly show, volatility in here. I've seen a few people talk about the VIX. I'm looking at UVXY. This is what just happened on UVXY, which will be the same thing as if you look at VIX. You just broke out the top from yesterday, and you're getting a little bit of resistance up here. So while screaming to the upside, market goes down, if suddenly this ends up failing this level and you get a pullback, there hasn't been a red candle on UVXY in the 15-minute, which is why you're getting a trend to the downs, or part of the reason you're getting a trend. If that reverses, the market could catch a little bit of a bounce. So you want to stay a little bit nimble here when looking at anything into the short side. So here comes Mara. It did not break that 15.10, so I think we should probably be jumping back into it. Wanted some confirmation here. I think we're in early. 15.10 is the key level on Mara. Thank you very much, Rob. A little bit of reload action on the old Java, keeping us warm, it seems.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, let me know. I'll file that expense report ASAP. All right, so look, man, Nvidia, we did it again over here. It's now 70 cents in the money on Nvidia. You know, stay with what's been making you cash, man. I mean, we'll lose on these dips, right? But now we're making it all back, and we will pretty much, well, we won't be at the highest spot we were at for Nvidia, but we'll wait to see what's happening. Apple trying to go again. We've just been buying these dips. Another positive name for us there today is going to be Apple. Like I said, we'll go we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks, flat on Amazon, slightly down on Tesla, down on Google, up on Apple, up on Nvidia. Of course, as you know, we're here for this. So let's wait to see. Now Nvidia getting a little bit of a bounce. Of course, they are at that Goldman Sachs conference right now. But there it goes, man. Props it up to everybody here today, trading all of that. Yeah, you know what? We didn't talk about Children's Place. Children's Place, I actually remember this back in COVID. I called this probably the best short of maybe of all time, because I didn't see anybody in Children's Place on the reopen, and the Children's Place near our place closed as well. If you scroll this back out, man, I think this was over $100 for sure at one point. Now down to 8, was just at 5. And we talked about, you know, how sort of the destruction of some of the retail names. We saw Big Lots and someone else file bankruptcy there.
Yeah, they're done.
Down to $5. I mean, this has been a bad stock. But today, Neil mentioned it. I didn't even know about that. Over 50% short float right there. So watch out for PLCE trying to get back up. But there it is. We're almost back in to $1 into the money. Hamster, are you in the chat? Because if you are, I have something for you. You've been waiting for this for a while. So let's go back and do it right now. It's what's for lunch. All right. All right. Ooh. Sauteed onions. All right. Beef bourguignon with sauteed onions, mushrooms, and baby carrots with a little white rice and quinoa, steamed bok choy as well. So we will say that's what's for lunch today. We had some
what was yesterday?
Chinese, was like a hoisin chicken right now. But we've got chicken dinner winners on right now for you. So today we'll get the beef. Yesterday was the chicken. And there it goes. Yeah, you know what, Shakib, you are right. Let's get this going back again. It is Hydration Nation. How dare we forget about that? We filled up our water there, and we are still at 9 a.m. because, you know, we've just been laying down some trades here today. Saw our good friend Mark O'Keefe from ICE and had a great time with that as well. What's going on, Sharif? As he's back in the building right here after his nice little walk. Get that headspace ready to go. We're ready to go every single day. Nvidia now, Neil. Bang! There it is. It's $1 in the money again for Nvidia. Thank you, Sharif. Thank you, Patrick. As we start spinning it up here, Neil, you know, the trades just keep coming in on this side. What's going on over there?
We're back in Amara. We're still holding on. You know what? At the end of the day, we might end up in DJT all day long if it holds that trend. I was about to talk about this stock for just a quick second for everybody. B-Fly is breaking to the upside. This is not day one for the stock. It's like a triple up. Well, sorry, it's over a double up in the last 2 weeks. So you got a move which is actually being sustained, but it's a very, very light move to the upside. The volume is starting to churn. What's good about it is it's been one of the better technical stocks. Every single time it gets to the previous high, generally that's turned into support. That's what's happening again today. But this feels like it's running out of steam in terms of volume. I'd be cautious with it. But anytime we get questions about small cappers, we'll let you know whether we're trading it or not. As I said, I'm back in tomorrow holding a downward trend until it breaks this trend on the 15-minute. I want to keep going back to the short trade. If we lose that 15-15 area, I think we're in trouble. As I said, DJT just feels like it could end up a hold all day. I keep putting my trail, looking at my trail. I'm like, do I move it? Do I move it off 16? It gets to 15.98. Now you're backing off. I think we're going to see the low of the day, and it might just be timed. I didn't want to reload this because I felt like it was making higher lows. And I don't like reloading a squeeze name or an SSR name if it's making higher lows off a bounce. But it stopped doing that. You've now got a bit of a head and shoulders and now a lower high that just formed. If you make a lower high, I want to jump back in off VWAP. So next time we get to VWAP, I'm shorting it still to the 16 level. But the way I'm looking at things on an SSR bounce or 10% name is once it starts doing that and trend back up, I don't want to reload. I want it to reform the downtrend and be patient enough to wait for that on DJT. It's back to about 34 cents on the money, but I've only taken the one short off that 16 false break. Now we're looking for the short back into VWAP on this. I still haven't shorted Intel, but the market's still weak, and it still doesn't seem to want VWAP. So now it's got a bit of a trend that's formed. I thought I drew this before. So kind of like this. As long as it holds on to this trend, okay, still going to be shorts. But to me, if you start breaking 5 to 7 cents above there, then it's gone. That would be about 78, 79 as we speak. But the trend is still working to the downside, at least on this name. Some things have calmed down. This one's still looking relatively weak, but there's my trend. If it breaks, then I shouldn't be trying to short it, but I'm still looking short on Intel. So just Mara, DJT, it's the same two that we started with. And just as I was about to offer 74s, you can see Intel's breaking lows of the day. So I'm going to get into the low 70s here as the market continues to bleed to said downside. Mara just tagged underneath 15 again, but getting into Intel will be the next concern here. I didn't want to punch the low of the day on Intel. That was not part of the plan. I hate punching low of the day past the first 15, 20 minutes when you get those bigger moves.
All right, we just got oil there. So crude oil right now, weekly builds. So build on oil. We talked about this yesterday. Look at USO, more downside, getting cheaper and cheaper to put that gas in your car.
That's not good.
Right now as more build there coming for crude. So watch out now as USO going to the downside. Our guy Randy was looking for some XOM love. We'll see if he can get some of that anytime soon. But right now, not much happening on XOM, down 2%. Watch out for that break of 108 and change. Right now on XOM, actually, that's not a bad breaking spot right there at all. Breaking back down below 108 could be a decent spot there for XOM. Actually, I may take that. Now that I see this, we did just get a little bit of a reload there in Nvidia, so that might be a good trade back up through 109. We just got, I'm not to tell you the price exactly, 108.85 on that one. Apple dropped out, so that name, again, will be a red one as it just dropped back in, down 0.6 now, taking these out. We shouldn't be going long on any of these names as we continue to go to the downside. I'm happy going long Nvidia just because it's Nvidia, but at the end of the day, it's a slippery slope for all names today. The NASDAQ has not got going at all day. So move to the downside, we just should be short for sure, but Nvidia is pulling back right now. Our stop on this is at 108.40, sort of into the low of the day there for Nvidia. So we'll see what's going on with it, but for right now, nothing good in Nvidia land. So yeah. Back up, there it is, back up. We are offering 10 or 05s, so we'll take that one. A little bit of a hot dog cannon there for NVDA, and let's just see if it continues with those plays. But right now, downside for the whole market.
Almost. Palantir's holding the bottoms very nicely.
Okay, that could be a good call.
I was looking for like what's actually relatively strong right now. That's a bit of a misnomer, I should say. It's not up. It's down 2%. But if you look at yesterday's lows, 33.70. Ignore that dark pool wick at 8 o'clock. Those aren't real prices. It held yesterday's low by 5 cents. So, and look at this. Now it's making higher lows. The market's at the low of the day, and Palantir is starting to look relatively strong. If this can hold 34, maybe we just wait for 33.70. I want to find something which is strong. I was talking about Oracle before. That could be another one as well that you can watch, but that just lost VWAP, unfortunately. So I would have liked this a little bit better if it could have held VWAP. Now you got to wait for maybe 156 is a relatively strong name. When you lose the support level and the market's at the lows, that's not the one I want to be in. I'd rather be in the one that's holding a support level and we can still play off it, or making a higher low over there on PLTR. So 33.70 would be that low. I think we just got to be patient, as I said, waiting for it. I know it's down, but there's more to it than just red or green. You got to look at the levels of that day. When it gaps away from the previous close, it can still find a level of support if it's down. And it's already held that one twice as the market continues to bleed. So we're in. Mara's now at 14. All right, Mara's down at like 1480 or so. So that one continues to flush into the downside as it's hitting right to these lows. It has actually broken 89, which is the double bottom. But if it does continue further, just zooming out, 1475 is where all you know what broke loose, and this thing ran like $1.20 yesterday. So I think 1475 is as obvious a potential support level as possible. Want to get out if it bounces 1475 here. Down 6.5%. I can only imagine what's going on with Coinbase right now. No, it's not. Coinbase is not broken $150. Man, if Coinbase loses this low from yesterday, I feel like that could flush as well. Just prefer Mara a little bit better.
Yeah, what is Bitcoin? 55.7. Yeah, that is actually.
If we break 55 today, we could be.
That is pretty low. I did see some talk there about Oracle. I think that's a good call because Oracle's been strong, right? I mean, we're up 14% yesterday, up still 1% here today. If you are looking to get long on something, I think Oracle or Nvidia. I mean, I'm in Nvidia, so a little bias to that trade right now, but Oracle could be something. I mean, I'd rather take the 156. Give it a minute to get down there. As Neil mentioned before, it's only 10:35. We have a lot of time here to go. So let's just let it relax for a little bit. Again, like at a key level is softy. 411. I mean, this is going to be one of those plays again where if you thought, let me just have a look here on softy just real quickly. Why do I think this is so key? I guess just because it's an even dollar bounce. Yeah, so it's just bouncing off 411. It's actually not that important. Maybe 409 might be something there for Nvidia, for Microsoft. But yeah, 411 coming into play now for MSFT. What does that look like here? Yeah, so all right, so this is maybe it's 410-ish. There's the 50-period moving average at 410.50. Yeah, there it is, 409. So sorry about that. I got a little excited there. This was the level that I was looking for, 409 on Microsoft. I actually thought that was 411, but
you seen this?
409. Starbucks? No. So that Brian Nickel just took it over a couple days ago.
So there's a note from 4:30 a.m. I got it. Like we were just talking about relative strength. We have the best trading community in the world because I was looking at, well, I mean, Palantir's not making fresh lows. I mean, Oracle's trying to hold on to VWAP. That's what I was looking at for relative strength, and that's muted. Starbucks is at the high of the day when the market's at the low of the day. That's a strong stock. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a home run today, but 2% when the market's down. So Brian Nickel, on his second day, announced plans to return the company to its roots as a community coffee house. So that's the headline from 4:30 this morning. If you happen to be up at that time, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that Starbucks is a strong stock. And it is just clean to the upside the last couple of days. I didn't even realize, I had forgotten that he officially took, to be honest with you, I forgot that he officially took over yesterday. And look at the reaction. It goes up when he's announced. It goes up when he takes over, and it continues up when they find out his plans. So yeah, the stock's going up. This seems like a much easier join of a trend to set upside. Well pointed out by everybody in the chat. I mean, Starbucks, if it is late, let the market try to bring it back into VWAP. But the trend has been very, very clean on this one. At that said, you're not at any of the key levels. Palantir, however, it's just trying to make a higher low, which we said we'd look for a higher low if it's not above VWAP. Now you're getting one here at the 33.80 level on PLTR. I know it's not up on the day, but as I was saying, sometimes it's not about the percent because it gapped away. It's what it's able to do, which is hold on to the low of the day when the market couldn't. If you're not breaking lows when the market is, you're relatively strong in the moment, which at least for now, Palantir is trying to get into VWAP. Mara, I don't want to reload. Intel, we're still on the offer and cannot get filled. But Palantir looks like it'll be the one. So yes, Starbucks is stronger, but Palantir was at the levels that we liked. As long as it holds on at 33.70, I want to try that long. Strong reaction to earnings, and it's holding a higher low than I'm going to like it here.
All right, I'm just going to start canceling some of these bids here because we are not going anywhere on our friend Nvidia right now. We're actually even just going lower. There it goes. Okay, I was just going to say we are getting ready to get out. It's breaking the low, so we just tried some more at 50s there as we start to go lower. Yeah, man, the whole market is falling down right now, and London Bridge is falling down, and right now the market is that bridge and trying to get a little lower for sure. Now, I might just punch this low on the market. I mean, I feel bad already. We should already be short 60s on the TQQ, but we are not. So that kind of sucks. Levels that we written down before were Amazon. I just gave my sticky note to Sharif. He needed it for a second. Amazon, Google, Tesla. So what's been strong? I mean, so the one name that I was going to dip by here was Microsoft at that MSFTY, right there at 411 and change to see if that one wants to come through as well. I don't know. We just missed it for, what is that, 38s. We're at 25 trying to defend 411. So if that does spike down, we like that one. Nvidia's coming in, man. I mean, this could just be that break. I mean, why are we even looking long anymore? Nice downside move. I mean, the TQQs has this 58.50 level that we could short off of. That's 58.72 there as a low. Debating starting a trade right now on the futures to the short side. I mean, nothing's holding up. Google's at 147. Apple's at 218. Nvidia's about to break 108. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's not great here. Nvidia's just turning red right now. So there is a big opportunity for this market to continue to fall. So with that being said, let's just take a small position here, see if we're going to be right on the TQQs. Sorry, wrong stock. There it is. So I'm going to give this until that spike high or maybe even 58.80 or so for that short. Let's put on a short here on the futures. So basically 18.6 is where we're at. We're going to go short right now. Smallish position. It's not the size that we would normally have. I'd much rather come up into that 50-period moving average before we shorted it like crazy. But we'll hold this and try to play momentum. It is the low of the day, so this is a little bit of a sketchy play, but we'll wait to see if it works out or not. It went 10 cents in the money. Not going to be good enough. We'll try some more reloads here, mid-40s.
Well, it's also yesterday's low, right?
Is it yesterday's?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know.
It's yesterday's
we're right there on the futures. Yeah. So 58.50. Yeah. Okay.
I have it. Okay. Technically,
lower here.
Technically speaking, when you get to an even level on the futures, this is 18.6, but then the bottom was really 18.5, 8 something. But 20 handles up or down off of an even dollar level on the futures is still that level. So you are at that you're at that 18.6 level as we speak, and that has been kind of the spot here for the future. So it just got tagged. All right, so Palantir, just to come back over to the full idea. So you had yesterday's lows, that holds. There's once, there's twice, there's the higher low at 80. It just tagged like the low 90s and pulled right back. So it needs to get up into VWAP. It will scalp it into VWAP and try and hold for a break of VWAP. But as the market is coming down, we don't want to be fighting it past this higher low. If it loses 80, I shouldn't be in this all the way to the low of the day. So I'll be out of it if it gets into the 70s. This is me canceling orders on Intel. The thing about a trend line, so remember about a trend line, like the entry prices get lower, obviously, as the stock trends downside. So where I liked it before, I have to wait for it to retest the top of this trend line, if it ever even does again. That'll be in the 60s through the low of the day. We'll see if we can jump back into that. But at this point, you're almost more concerned with any long trades on as we speak. So Palantir, it's kind of consolidating on a higher low, which I like, which means it's not breaking lows, but it's not really going all that far. Like it bounced 7-8 cents there, which is essentially 1-to-1 the risk that I have, but it's not doing any continuation into VWAP. We need to see that happen pronto in this market, which is still finding its way off these lows. Adara, what other sectors are moving in here on the big board?
A little bit hard today because all of these sectors look the same and they are bright red. There are two bright spots here to talk about. We have Oracle, which is to the upside here, the only strongly green name here in technology services on a day 2 earnings move. Then on the consumer services side, we have Starbucks, SPUX. Not seeing any new news on this one for today, but it's Brian Nichols' 3rd day as CEO. Yesterday, he outlined his plans for the company, though they were recapping some other previous issues with regards to mobile apps and talking to baristas to understand their concerns. In terms of other sectors, we do have a particularly red transportation, health services, process industries, consumer durables. A lot of weakness across the board here in health technology, but finance, to me, especially interesting. We have BRKB and BAC leading this group to the downside. Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett actually selling more of their Bank of America shares. Bank of America CEO actually addressing this, saying, not really sure what is going on there. I'm not talking to Warren Buffett about that, but interesting look for BAC and BRKB, both to the downside as Warren sells more, guys.
I mean, I don't know what else to do. The bear is in the building. We just went short on the NASDAQ. We just went short on the NASDAQ at 18.6, man. And like, this is 40, 50 handles in the money and going lower right now for us. So we'll cover some of this at 58. Again, when you're trading the TQQs like this, it's going to be my PNL number 2. And it's just funny how this happens because, we got more shares, by the way, right there. So that was a good trade. Let's just wait to see. I'm going to take one more piece off here at 07. Oh, we got filled, okay. Wow, the liquidity is here, boy, on these stocks. So obviously, as the futures, you're not going to get a much more liquid symbol than the TQs. Remember, a lot of this is going to be program trading, meaning that like they're going to be pulling and throwing offers, and you get a lot of inside prints, dark pools. So there's a lot of algos is sort of the word I'm looking for here on TQQ. So just be careful with it. I'm still gonna stop out if it breaks this 80 level, and we're already out of half. So let's now wait to see if this can continue to bleed down. We got slipped in and out real quick there on Microsoft. That came in, we took 411.20s, we got out at 411 break. So 30 cents. It happened quickly, but I have to tell it to you. We used to have sort of what we were up or down on stocks, but Microsoft will be down. I just want to let you know that because that was a name that we had talked about potentially defending this 411 spot. So good couple outs there on the Qs. I'm going to put another bid there. We'll take a 23, but we'll wait to see what's going on now with the triple Qs to the downside for the NASDAQ. Pretty comfortable holding on to it, but again, you know, comfort is in the eye of the beholder. As long as your fills are getting hit and the stock is reacting your way, the stop orders should be your best friend.
Yes.
Because if you're wrong, you'll get punched out. And if you're right, then hopefully you'll be able to hold something for a little bit longer.
So Coin's best friend is $150 right now. And Bitcoin's best friend is, it's at 55,000. I have IBIT up. I'm going to show you why I'm not on the offer right now of Mara, even though it's in the money. Is triple bottom here on BTC. That's IBIT as a way of showing you. And then coin over here, triple-ish. It's not really a triple bottom, but whatever. It's 150 support, you guys can see. And it's not really breaking. So I was just on the offer when I saw that because you're holding the same range. We've gone back into this one, played it 4 times here in Mara. The last time, it's now off of this 15-10 level where it's resisting. If we make higher lows here, you're at a bottoming level on Bitcoin, obviously. If it doesn't break that low, then we scalp the range and wait for a bigger move to the downside. Otherwise, I want to be very cautious and only short it on the way down. Like, see the green, wait for it to make a high underneath our resistance level, then get short instead of just sitting on the offer just anywhere. I think we got to be a little bit more cautious on this one. I'm going to go back to DJT because, as I said, I was going to reload at VWAP. The thing hasn't been anywhere near VWAP since I said that. It just continues to make some lower highs in here. Essentially bleeding most of the day, but if it bounces off the low one more time, I probably just take that out at the low of the day if it can find a bid off of said low. It hasn't been a very good day or a healthy day for DJT, as anybody can see. GameStop as well, working into the downside. I keep looking over, and the biggest disappointment today was not getting into the trend on Intel. Too late to identify it. I didn't throw this up until it was essentially breaking here, and now it's 1850. You know, you're going to break all-time lows. This is not all-time, sorry, 52-week lows, I shouldn't say. It's been lower than this before. You're going to break 52-week lows when it gets underneath 18.5 on Intel. got to find my way in. I don't want to take, like I said, I'm not taking a breakdown at 11 o'clock, but if this loses, I think it's going to have some kind of a short in this name here today.
So guys, like, you know, our number one sponsor here, Real Trading. I just want to say I feel like this is real trading that we're doing here every single day. We flipped over. We talked about XOM breaking 108. I flipped over there. I was like, XOM's at 108. Let's go short. So there it is right now. We're short at 93s on XOM. Our first out's 80. We're actually bidding right here. Hopefully we'll get a fill if this cracks through 78. And then we're bidding lower. So we've broken on XOM. We got that oil number. It was weaker. Oil's been bad. XOM's bad. Market is bad right now. And then, by the way, the TQQs, oh boy, as this is going to the downside. And let's spin it right there. We'll spin the money for anybody short with your boy over here. And again, I talk about that real trading stuff. It's having that opinion of, okay, we're wrong on the long. We are right on the short. And it's just like, it's never too late to flip your position over. And that's what we wound up doing there. Now it's starting to go back up. We'll take a 10 there on the TQQ. We're short in the money now, 35 cents. We like that trade. It looks like XOM may not be that one for us. So we'll still sit in it. I mean, like I said, I like the stock. We don't normally trade this. I'm going to give this to what? I mean, look, if it battles back, it battles back. We're going to give this to 108.25, which is the 50-period moving average. Let's just keep doing the same thing that we've been doing for a minute, and that is watching these shorts still coming to the downside. Just a target for the TQs now. Same thing. The 50 period is still there. I don't want to get out of anything until we're back into here, but I definitely do not want to reload at this level. This is not a reload level here for the NASDAQ. It has to come back up into the 40s in order to be right. Okay, we just get an 85, an amazing 7 cents now. We'll wait to see if XOM prints those mid-70s for us, and then we'll just work off of that. But hey, it's oil. So I don't know where this is going to go. Supply down, oversupply right now, sending the price of crude to the downside. And just so you guys know,
Oxy broke 50 just.
Yeah, I mean, remember I said Oxy's a disaster right now. XOM trying to join the party. This is USO downside. Okay, there goes the NASDAQ again. Let's go, man. Flip it up with me, man. XOM downside, TQ's downside. So far, so good there. We just got a 95 fill on the NASDAQ trade. So far, so good. We've got 10 members, 10 memberships right there. I want to give a big thank you and a big awesome and another awesome and another awesome right there. 580 iron worker right now. Thank you so much for that one, for the 10 gifted memberships. We appreciate you. Believe me on that. Means a lot to all of us here. So thank you for that one. And thank you to all of our members again. It's $5 a month. It just goes to help support the channel. So we definitely appreciate that. XOM's trying to get back up. We will reshort. We just took some fills, by the way, at 80s as well. We'll reshort that ahead of that. There it is. There's the short. One last time here on XOM, getting away from us now to the upside. We're short at 108.02. It's Money Talks with Adara.
Iron worker.
Bullish look continuing to form here on the DXY. This is our fourth straight day to the upside, but we're still struggling to break above that previous level of resistance here at that 104.70 area. We did get some CPI data earlier today, pretty much in line with expectations. CPI year over year, 2.5%, month over month, 0.2%. Core CPI year over year, 3.2%. All of those exactly in line with estimates. We did, however, get a core CPI print on a month over month basis, a little bit above estimates, 0.3% versus the previous print and estimate of 0.2%. We'll have to see how the market reacts to this as we have the FOMC meeting in almost exactly a week from today. 2 p.m. on September 18th. We'll get comments from Fed Chair Powell there as well, but it's worth noting ahead of that meeting, Citigroup now speculating coming after the CPI print that we'll get a 25 basis point cut in the September meeting and then 50 basis point cuts in the last two meetings of the year. So they're seeing a bit wider cut. We'll have to see what we get on Wednesday with the FOMC, guys.
Flat bottom break on Netflix incoming as well. I mean, the market.
People are thinking here.
Well, I mean, it's breaking right now. It's actually already. So Netflix is in here, and like there's a lot of stocks that are hanging on. I mean, thinly trying to hold some lows here. 662 would be that bottom, but the 50 period's right under it at like 659. But this is what you're dealing with overall in the markets. You're absolutely bleeding. I saw, was it Shakib in the chat that just said they're adding to Intel long term? Good luck.
Yep.
If it was the same one, I wasn't sure. I saw it very quickly. Good luck. You're at the 52-week low as we speak. I expected to look down because Intel's a cheap stock. See like 1 million shares on the bid, because usually that's what you get at a big level on Intel. Nope. It's like a couple 100,000 shares are sitting on the bid of Intel. They don't even want to stack it at a level like this, and that's at $18.50. This is the first green candle since it touched the trend line, and it feels like it's going to take a shot at this break. I'm now looking for the trend at 1863, 64. Somewhere in here, we want to try to join this, but it looks like it's trying to bounce off that 52-week low here on Intel. Just no size in the bid, man. I would have liked this long if there was size on the bid. For now, hang on to your shorts or maybe even join them. If it breaks this, it's probably like worth a couple of cents risk just to see what happens. Grab a 49 and see what happens here on Intel, but it could break this 52-week low any second now. So that's where I'll be unless it decides to give us a pop and fade.
All right, we're going to go long Nvidia right now. Like I said, let's just go back to the well. Our best name here today, one of the only positive names. I mean, we're going to be well up on the TQQs, but we're going to try to see what happens now with Nvidia. So we'll go long there. JP Morgan's going. Yeah, I mean, we've got to look at different spots. There's no doubt about that one. There goes Nvidia right now. Do we just get that, Phil? I thought I was waiting up here. Oh, I'm at 98. Okay. We just went ahead. We talked about this yesterday with Obi. Ahead of 108, a couple pennies ahead. We're offering 98s. Don't tell me it doesn't get there. There it is. It gets there. It gets there easily. Right now, nice little trace back to the upside. And we did get a beautiful low there on the TQQs, man. We got 57.85s there. So nice little trade here. Let's go, man. Let's ring that register back up to the upside now with Nvidia trying to go. What's not going, and we've gotten some out of this, is our trade here on XOM right now. Just looking at a break through this level. So 108, we talked about this. We'll get out if it breaks 41s. We wanted, I mean, it's right here, right now. We'll give this a little bit of room. Because it's on NYSE, I feel like it kind of dances around a little bit more. There's not huge size here. It doesn't look like Nvidia or any of those other names. So sometimes you got to give these names a little bit of room to breathe. This will be a 30-cent hit, obviously, if it goes back up to the upside right there. Nvidia is a 30-cent winner as we go back into the names that we like. But yeah, XOM, definitely a mistake there by going short, but no mistake, NEPA on Nvidia. We're at 25s, and there it is again. That's a nice little one. It's 40 cents now in the money on Nvidia. We're pretty happy about these trades coming through here today. I'm going to try to bleed out a little bit on XOM and see if we can't get there. It's gonna break higher now. USO probably retracing back up. I was just trying to play that 108 break. It looks like it is not going to be a break. If anything, it's going to be a sort of a catapult back up to the upside off 108. Our best outs are 70s. So we had the trade. We probably should have averaged into it. That's what it is. TQs near the bottom again. I don't know, man. It seems like, Neil, the market wants to bounce and then not bounce. So
it's almost like that was a bit of a trap. I just saw news on Designer Brands. They reported, I think. I feel like Designer Brands was it looks like an SSR bounce either way. But Designer Brands, I'm pretty sure did they report last night? Is that why they gapped down like this?
I don't remember that name.
I mean, this thing was down. Really, it was down 30%. So it was down 30%. It's now breaking back out. Another retail name, another SSR bounce. We've seen this time and time again. Looks like a bit of a squeeze happening here on DBI, but yeah, that looks somewhat interesting if it's going to try to fill in this gap. That's like a $5 to $6 gap in there. I just heard the high of the day break here on Benzinga and went over to it. Intel's still holding on to 52-week lows, and it's really trying to bounce off this level. I keep saying, okay, well, I'll just go short when it breaks and take 49 short. But the other side of that is, well, I mean, if it bounces, you could also just risk the 2 or 3 cents in the other direction and play this. It's not a lot of size down here, but there's definitely some buyers on Intel at this 1850 level. It's now 12. I mean, you can see 4 candles on a 3-minute. That's how long it's been holding. This might be worth a bit of a reversal play. You can always short the pop on said pop. DJT is trying to get back into VWAP. I said we wait for VWAP for a short. It's finally back in here. There's a buyer walking this thing up. It's only about 34,000 shares on the bid, but they've been walking it back into VWAP here since it was about 1550. If they get filled, look short. as they just fill for 1,000 shares there. But if they don't, wait for it to get to VWAP or $16 for a curl. But I like Intel at this price level. The bid's getting a little bit bigger down here at 51, 52, and 50 even on INTC. Shakib, it is you saying watch the weekly chart on Intel. 2 weeks ago, you can see a bigger candle in the last 20 years.
Oh, that's like...
Why not? We got 2 minutes to go. So here's the weekly on Intel. There we go. Let me just drag my trade ideas down here. Look, obviously, it's not going to be very, very good when you look at this one, but you're looking at, what do you see, 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I went too far back out. You said 2 weeks ago, but that's back in here. You see a bigger candle last, oh, this one. Well, I mean, I'm not going back 20 years, but I guess we go back 10 years, and that is the biggest volume candle at the lows, which you're now taking out. I do like volume reversals, but until you actually hold the level and get back above it on the weekly, it's still kind of pressuring it to the downside. Usually that can be a reversal, but when you make a reversal bottom, you're supposed to keep trending higher. It immediately reversed back underneath here. If this closes the weekly underneath $19, that looks bearish to me. I don't know, like it's unless you're breaking back out this top, I like joining trend reversals as opposed to sitting on the bid of them in a general sense. But I see what you mean. Huge volume bottom on Intel on that weekly chart. You'd just like for it to have held that bottom if it's going to reverse. That's the only problem I have with it.
All right, just real quickly, XOM. So we were able to get something out there when it came back into the 20s there, into the 50-period moving average. Not enough to turn us profitable, obviously, on the name as we get stopped out, as it breaks through 40 right there. Look, we're 40 cents in the money on the TQs, and we're 50 cents in the money on Nvidia. I think tides have turned here a little bit. Market looks like it wants to get back up to the upside rate now. We are now 10% in on the TQs. I'm actually just going to bid it out. We are now out of that trade for a big win on that one, but it's a big dump and a fail on XOM. So we'll just kind of make what we lose there and lose what we make on those two names. So that kind of sucks. But it's Nvidia with the buy maybe of the day here at 107.75 right now, long on Nvidia. Play the strong names, man. That seems to be what works. So there it is. We could go, hey, what's up, Nick W? We could go in on ARM right now. We only have a couple more minutes before we go over. It's GAN something, GAN lines. GAN lines coming through today on the, yeah, get the protractors ready. I got to go into my grade 8, sort of a school bag there. I don't know, when did we use protractors? Grade 5? 130 right now coming through on that play for ARM. So yeah, I don't mind it. I'm going to stick with the best, and that's going to be Nvidia. We did get out of our TQs. So right now,
slide rule.
We're just long right now, Nvidia. So let's just wait to see if it comes back up. I am looking for 109 as a play to get out of a few shares on Nvidia. All right.
So I just remembered something. Yeah. Remember that size that was walking up DJT? When it gets filled, you can't hit it because it's short sell restricted. Mm-hmm. So there was no chance to punch that guy. You just walked it up for 30 to 40 cents on the bid, just higher and higher and higher. When it finally broke, it's trying to head down now, but you couldn't hit the bid. You just have to leave it in there as it's SSR. I did get a reload. It's not at VWAP, but if 16 breaks, we're out of it. But let's get into some GAN.
Oh yeah, the GAN theory.
GAN theory.
Or GAN lines, I think it was.
Is it GAN lines?
It's like tan lines.
Yeah.
It's like tan lines, but it's
I don't have to worry about that.
Right there.
I'm just saying.
All right, let's go over
Never my fault.
To the midday show and learn more about GAN lines.